All live. Welcome to Hardly Initiated's Late Night Specials. Your host, Tyshawn Jackson, here rocking with another episode with my co-host, Ryan Catchings.
Yo, I'm ready. We already got people going crazy in the chat right now. Plus, we got a very special guest, a very, very special guest. We're about to go crazy on this one.
Yes, y'all. Listen, this brother here, y'all have seen his face all over the internet. We are here rocking with my favorite health expert, the natural holistic brother, getting them pills, them pharmaceutical pills out your body, getting them hot Cheetos out your system, and giving you what you need. We are here rocking with Dr. Bobby Price. Welcome back to Hardly Initiated.
Glad to be back, man. Glad to be back.
Yeah, man. Listen, man, Dr. Bobby Price, it's the last time you came here, you really blessed the people.
Yeah.
You really blessed the people, man. I was really shocked to see how much people really resonated with the message of health, because it seems like love and relationships is the biggest thing that people want to talk about, but your message in health was especially it just seemed to hit them in a different way. And today, y'all, listen, stay tuned, because today we met your needs. The members, shout out to the members who are a part of the YouTube channel. We listening to your requests, because today, y'all see the title of this. The title of this joint, he cannot get it up. The ladies are saying they struggling having a man get those erections to give them a long-lasting and happy, satisfying relationship in the bedroom. So this is why we brought you back here to talk about this, Dr. Bobby Price. Are you familiar with? Are you hearing this on your end as well with your clients and the people you work with?
Man, it's so funny. I used to hear it when I was, primarily in the hospital too. And one of the things that really surprised me was that I was seeing, a lot of young men coming in their 20s, which I didn't expect, coming in to get, Viagra, Cialis.
20 years old.
In their 20s.
Getting Viagra.
Yeah. So
that's insane.
It's a big problem. Not only from that standpoint, but also sperm counts are down. Testosterone is at an all-time low as well, too. So you start to see, like, it's not just one problem just in the bedroom, but it's a problem in men in general with their health.
That's a fact, because we spoke to about 50 of our first inaugural 100 members, right? And shout out to the members, by the way. We
Big
had 140 plus. So shout out to y'all. But when I was speaking to quite a bit of the young ladies, that was one of the main concerns. Yeah. It's like, not only have we identified this as an issue, but my guys now having issues with actually addressing it.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we cover all of that, because to be honest with you, it's got me kind of worried. Yeah. I'm working straight. I'm good now. But what I was telling Tyler, I really can't understand if so many men are experiencing this.
Yeah.
I just think, like, it has to be something that I'm missing.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure we get all the information from you, because I don't want to be one of those guys that's hitting the early 30 years old on Viagra.
So let's start from square one with this, Dr. Bobby Price, because I want to know, help me out with this. First of all, just even kind of help us understand from a more medical perspective, what is erectile dysfunction? Like, what is that?
Yeah, so medically speaking, it's a blood flow issue to the penis. So I guess the best way to help people understand it is the use of the medication Viagra and other PDE5 inhibitors.
Okay.
How it works is it helps the blood to the penis.
Right.
But it also stops the venous return, because, the veins in the body return the blood back to the heart.
Okay.
So it stops that venous return, which adds more blood flow to the area.
Got it.
Okay. The blood flow is what creates the balloon effect.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying? So if you can get blood flow to the area, then you can actually have the erection. Without blood flow, there is no erection. And so that's why they always sort of tag, erectile dysfunction with heart disease as well, too. Because heart disease is a vascular issue. It's a problem with the blood vessels. Okay. It's a problem with the pressure. It's a problem with the elasticity. It's a problem in terms of the damage inside of the endothelial layer, inside of the blood vessels. So erectile dysfunction is simply an issue with blood flow. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about erection, that can come from multiple issues. And what I mean by that is this: it could be psychological. Okay, it could be neurological, meaning there could be some nerve damage as well too. But it also can be lifestyle as well too. And most of the cases is lifestyle.
In most of the cases, lifestyle.
It's lifestyle. Yeah.
Okay, so in most of the cases, lifestyle. So help me with this. If I'm a brother who's having a relatively healthy lifestyle, I'm in the gym.
Remember, relative.
Okay.
You know, the reason why I broke you right there is because a lot of people will say, well, I eat healthy, Doc. So I think I'm good there. And then I explain to them what is healthy and what is unhealthy. And then they're like, okay, I don't eat healthy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because unfortunately, today, what's common doesn't mean that it's normal.
Right.
Okay. So the foods that we're eating today, you compare it to what our great grandparents ate, is not the same food. Like the food that we're eating today is an abomination compared to what our great grandparents ate. 90% of the foods today in the supermarket did not exist when our grandparents were kids.
90% didn't exist.
No, just when think about all the foods that you see on the shelves, those are new products. There are processed foods.
So help us out now. Like, what is the difference between healthy and unhealthy?
Well, healthy is original food. It's fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. It's original foods, only one ingredient. That's the only true food.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Everything else is a food product. And when they make food products, they're making them to make money. That's the primary objective. And the way that you make money is to keep it on the shelf for a long time. And to be able to keep it on the shelf for a long time, you have to put preservatives, additives, thickening agents, emulsifiers, dyes, all kind of things in it that are unhealthy for you.
Okay, so now I want to make sure I didn't miss out, because you said foods with one ingredient. You said fruits, veggies, and nuts.
Fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds.
Okay, what about meat?
See, meat. So let me give you my perspective. You guys know I don't eat meat.
Right.
So I haven't eaten meat or any animal products in 13 years.
Wow.
Okay, so that's my perspective. And I always tell people, like, when I give people advice, I'm giving them advice from the standpoint of we need to heal. Most people are sick and they don't know it. Most people are walking time bombs. I'll give you an example. How many people you know who you saw them yesterday and then the next day you was like, they had a heart attack and passed away?
Bro,
you hear
LeBron James' son just had cardiac arrest.
That's about Kevin Sanders,
which is insane.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the point I'm trying to make is most people think that they're healthy today. They're not. You see what I'm saying? So like, that's why I always give that perspective, because the way that we're living today, and you got to think about it. My background is I'm a chemist, I'm a pharmacist, clinical pharmacist, but now I'm a herbalist and a plant-based nutritionist. So I've been on both sides of the grass.
So you seen what the toxins look like when they
so you was pushing that Cialis.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is that when you know better, you do better.
I get it.
And when you go to school, when you go to school as a healthcare professional, you're only taught what is taught by the big pharma, because most of the studies, most of the books, most of the language, most of everything that we learn is based in what pharmaceutical companies have created for us in terms of the knowledge. So this is why when you go to a doctor, you rarely get any information outside of a prescription drug or over-the-counter drug.
Yeah,
that's very true. About a month ago, I went because I had like some pressure in my chest.
Yeah,
I went. They gave me an EKG. I asked them what's wrong. She said, you probably got sick and now you have inflammation in your chest. I'm like, and she didn't give me any kind of remedy for it. So she did say, I got this prescription, right? Yep. So I went. I was actually gonna go to CVS to get the prescription filled.
Yeah.
Something told me not to go. I went home, sat down, thought about all the stuff I've been eating. I literally went on a watermelon fruit fast, along with writing all of the stuff that I was eating. And what it is I was consuming so much sodium, so much hot wings. Soon as I went on that fruit fast, I changed my diet. It immediately went away. Well, not immediately. Over about a week, it just faded away.
And what that tells you is we don't have health care, we have sick care. We can only treat people who are sick. Okay. If you come in and we can't figure out what's going on with you, then we can't treat you. Okay. If nothing shows up in your vitals, nothing shows up irregular at all, we don't know what to do with you.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? And it's because we don't treat from a healthy perspective. We only know how to treat the sick.
She didn't even ask me what I had been eating.
No. Because no doctors, let me not say no doctors, but only about 1 to 5% of medical schools require a nutrition course. So when you ask your doctor a question about nutrition, they're giving you layman's advice.
She might not even know.
They're giving you an advice that they either can you can Google or or they Google.
That's facts, because literally they might say something like, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables. Like if you got high blood pressure or something, yeah, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables.
So,
see, that would be too right, because I would have felt good and understood what to do after that, rather than being super confused and concerned right after that. I didn't know what the situation was.
No. Let me ask you this though, because we talking about the fellas. I want to know if the ladies might be in trouble too, because obviously we see this is affecting our sexual health as men.
Yeah.
And which we're gonna still get into a lot more. But I want to just let's talk about the ladies. Do the ladies have anything to worry about? Their diets, can their sexual health also be affected in similar ways?
Yeah, because I mean, it could create hormonal imbalance. It can create dysfunction, in the gut. And the gut leads to everywhere. So when you get unhealthy in the gut, you're going to be unhealthy everywhere.
What's hormonal imbalance? What does that look like?
So a hormonal imbalance, so both men and women have this symphony going on inside of them. And what's important for us to know and understand is that both men and women have both testosterone and estrogen. Okay. The only difference is that men have more testosterone, of course, and women have more estrogen. And that's for a very specific reason, on how they grow biologically, but also because a woman is, the pathway to life. She creates life in her body. Right. So her hormones are going to be very different from ours. Yeah. And so when we're eating all this food that has a lot of hormones in it, that has a lot of things that affect the hormonal imbalance in the body, then of course it can affect the reproductive and also the sexual cycle as well too.
So when you say, I guess I want to know more specifically, would this stop them from having the urge and desire to have sex? Would they just altogether stop getting wet and be less moist when they're having sex? How does this affect them?
It can happen. Now that typically happens as women age, but it happens for women in a younger age too. But it also can cause them to have longer and heavier periods. It can lead to things like fibroids that cause sex to be painful as well too. And so, and that's the thing that, I'm always trying to speak about, especially around relationships, is that we have to get very much more intimate in our conversations, so that when a man is struggling in his intimacy and a woman is struggling perhaps with her cycle or anything like that, we should be comfortable enough to say hey, I'm struggling. I'm trying to get it together. She should be able to be comfortable enough to say, hey, my cycle is off and I feel horrible. And we should be compassionate enough to say, all right, let's come together. Let's figure out how we get healthy together, figure out our diet, figure out exercising together, and then that way we fix our problems together.
Now, you know damn well, Dr. Bobby Price, ain't no dude going to the chick telling her, hey, baby, listen, I can't get up. I can't get it up. That's a tough conversation.
Well, it may be tough, but she's experienced it.
That's true.
So whether he having the conversation or not, she knows it. She's just being respectful of his ego. When you go in 2 to 3 minutes and you're lightly erected, not fully erected.
And you know the difference, fellas. When you just when that thing could knock this mic over right now. And when that thing just kind of halfway there.
Potato stuff.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's the thing that I was, I was doing a program and teaching men. I was telling them when you have a healthy erection, your penis actually goes up like this. It doesn't go out or down. It actually goes up. It comes towards you.
Oh, ladies, this is game. This is game, ladies.
Run. Wait. Run that one back.
Fellas might have never had one.
Okay. When it's fully is healthy, has a healthy erection.
Okay.
It's not down towards your leg.
That's limp.
Yeah.
It's not going out of your body. It actually will be so hard that it comes up.
Holy
Look at a baby. You ever seen a baby get erected?
No,
you don't got children?
No kids.
Okay,
Yeah,
got you.
No.
But that thing,
they're gonna have kids.
The baby be hella.
When they pee, it comes up to them.
Oh no, I've seen that.
Oh
yeah, definitely.
That's why.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
So the thing that I'm trying to say is, even for men who can get erect, I'm trying to tell them what the optimal erection is.
So if you see,
and that makes sense. Let me tell you why that makes sense. If you understand a woman's anatomy and what her G-spot is
up.
damn,
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, so
you can't
meant
even
to hit the
reach
G
that.
spot.
Huh?
The penis is meant to like an erect penis
To
is meant
come
to
up
hit.
like this.
Wow.
So if you start seeing, if you noticing that, because wow, so men are waiting at this point until they're not having sex altogether, but it's probably a slow decline. Like you probably notice
Yeah,
you're
it's
getting
over time.
softer erections,
But
and you're
do
not
you notice
handling it.
I don't think most men don't notice it.
Yeah.
Because like the ego always supersedes what reality is.
That's true.
So as you thinking like you laid her down, but she's being nice. And then gradually as things go on, she's gonna get a little honest.
Yo, that's a poll for the ladies. Ask the ladies, can you tell the difference in the strength of your man erection? I really want to know.
Wait, hold tight. We got one going right now, guys. We actually didn't even hit this poll. We had this one up before we even started.
What's that?
Is your partner struggling to get it up? So right now, we're 21 minutes in. We got 74 votes, guys. Let's get 100 votes on this thing. Let us know. Is your partner struggling to get it up?
Wow.
We got some comments. Hold on. Check this out. We got Tia P. Shout out to Tia P. Send over that super chat. Okay, my favorite doctor, Dr. Bobby Price. His 14-day cleanse changed my life. Y'all killing it with the content. Appreciate you, Tia P.
Yes. Wife actually just sent one in too. Wife in the building. Big shout out. Everyone in healthcare is not preventative, but healthcare is available. In the case where your rep is not preventative, you can choose to not listen to the guidance if your value is prevention. I'm just saying. I got you, wife. I got you. She got the hottest name in the chat, by the way, wife. That's like the best name.
That's like the goals.
But man, that's so interesting. So fellas, I mean, just hearing that, you got to be very aware of your body. Like you really got to be in tune and listen to your body, because I can imagine. And just even, is it always, if you have a halfway erection, is that always an issue in like your body not necessarily working right? Could it be an attraction issue? Should a man always be concerned about that, or sometimes it's that help?
Like I was saying earlier, it could be neurological, nerve damage. It also could be psychological, and there's a psychological component to it. I mean, it could be an attraction issue, but it also could be a confidence issue as well too.
Wow.
Well, you got to think about it. We live in a society where men are much more judged when it comes to sex as opposed to women. You know, women don't have a part that needs to grow and be a certain size. You're not judged by that. You see what I'm saying? Like the performance of sex is based on a man's performance. It's not based on a woman. Literally could just lay there.
That's so true.
You see what I'm saying? So society judges the man. So there's a lot of pressure when it comes to men as well from that standpoint. But also what's really important to understand as well too, especially in the last couple of years, you look at the suicide rates. Suicide equals depression. Okay, so men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide, and 80% of people who commit suicide are men.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? And the suicide rates have exploded. And a lot of that is due to like the societal pressure on men today. There's a lot of pressure on men to be able to provide. There's a lot of pressure on men to be the certain status. There's a lot of pressure on men in terms of like certain movements that are going on. So like there's a lot of stress in that as well too. I mean, if you got kids, you got a wife to provide for. I mean, if I got a family and let's say I had a wife and she decided like we had incomes that were both paying bills, and then she quit her job or lost her job. If we go homeless, they're not looking at her and saying like, they're looking at me and saying,
you the scrub,
you messed up.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So that's a lot of pressure, you know, especially for men who want to provide.
So all that pressure you saying could potentially lead back to the bedroom?
Absolutely. It always leads back because, you know, there's no person you want to have the respect of, the love of, the adoration of than your lady.
That's so true.
You see what I'm saying? So when you fail her, like you feel like you fail miserably.
As a man, as a man. And I love how you just like you put a divide in that. You said the issues could be biological or psychological.
Yeah.
And Ryan, we had this conversation too, because we talked about how porn also can affect your erection.
Yeah.
And porn affecting your erection, that's not necessarily biological, but that's psychological.
Yeah.
Your appetite can get adjusted seeing certain things.
Because it's retraining your body in a negative way, right?
Yeah. Well, there's that. See, I look at sex from a different standpoint. There's the physical nature of me that wants sex, that is lusting, that my libido. But then there's a spiritual component that I'm sharing energy with somebody as well too. And what you do when you watch a lot of porn is you're creating disconnection from that spiritual, energetic connection. So when you're watching porn, now there's this inanimate, not real object that you're looking at that you can't touch, that you can't experience, but you're getting pleasure from it. And so what happens when you get in a bedroom, now there's a real person that you have to think about, connect with, and now you don't know how to connect with them because you've been watching porn. Make sense?
It does.
And
It
so
does.
you have to create that connection if you're gonna have sex with an actual woman. And that's why I believe that, if you look at statistics today, they say that 33% of men are not having sex. They're sexless. So that's 1/3 of all men are not having any
That's
sex.
a scary thing.
They're not having sex with a woman.
Yeah.
And they having sex with themselves.
If they can. 'Cause I'm sure at some point, if you beat off enough to Pornhub, you'd probably start working on that too.
Yeah. And then the number of men who are virgins are going up exponentially as well too. So there's a lot of disconnection that's being created as a result of not only porn, but the shift in how we socialize on social media too.
Yes.
I mean, if you go back 15 years ago and look at what was being posted on the internet 15 years ago and compare it to today,
That's
it
true.
looks like soft porn today compared to
I could
15
imagine
years
it also
ago.
being a bit of
You see what I'm saying?
desensitization.
A lot of
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, a lot.
Just to the average person.
A lot, man. So it's a heavy psychological component that's going on in it because the times have changed, man. Like, R&B is different. You don't hear love songs anymore.
It's all smash.
Like, I don't know what people listen to when they have sex today if they like 20 years old.
All time.
You see what I'm saying? So, that changes everything too, man. So
You're right.
It's a huge component as well.
Man, that's
did I miss this libido? Because I don't think I did.
No, we didn't even get the libido yet.
Okay.
We still, because it's crazy because this is such a deep topic here when we're talking about the psychological and the biological elements of how that affects you as a man. And again, fellas, you got to be in tune with yourself. And we mentioned something about that communication aspect. The ladies have been asking that because the ladies have communicated countless times. My man is having this issue. Now, this is something I want to ask you here.
Cool.
Because if they're having this issue and the woman, we just going weeks, months without having sex with our lady and acting like
crazy.
she's not noticing, how should a woman communicate her sexual dissatisfaction to her man in a constructive way where it does not bruise his ego and they can actually start moving forward in the direction to get some help? What's the script on that?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a particular script because everybody is different.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So you have to you got to look at your mate and figure out how your mate works, which means you got to know your mate. But what I will tell you is everything starts with compassion when there's going to be potential constructive criticism or concerns being addressed.
Okay.
It has to start with compassion. And what I always tell women, and I'll both tell men too, and it sounds crazy, but imagine for a woman, imagine if you were trying to explain something to your son, how would you explain it to him? What level of compassion would you use if it was being explained to your son? Same thing with men. If you want to communicate something to your lady, explain it with the same delicacy and the same compassion that you would explain it with your daughter. And I think that
what is she explaining though?
Well, what she's explaining is her concern. Like, we're not being intimate because women have sex to be intimate. That's intimacy for them. A large portion of us is the physical pleasure that comes out of it.
Right.
Okay.
The release.
You see what I'm saying? And not just the release, but like, you know, for a lot of fellas, like you get a lot of pleasure out of pleasing too. You know, like a portion of that feeds the ego, another portion of that feeds you saying, you know, I gave to my lady.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's also a little bit deeper than that. But I think that's sort of like the prescription I give people is taught from a place of compassion and seeking to understand.
I think so. The thing is, like when I talk to the ladies, because I do agree, it gets to the point where they just not having sex. But when I speak to the ladies, they talk about the kissing, the hugging,
Yeah,
all of that stuff.
touching.
Not just the sex. It's like it goes from not having sex to just not touching, kissing at all.
Yeah.
Why do you think those things are also associated with it? Because does the guy know that a little kissing, a little touching here might set something off, or
Yeah, of course.
is he just so discouraged he doesn't want to do anything?
I think a portion of it is a misunderstanding of and understanding that the importance of intimacy for a woman, and intimacy isn't just penetration. So a lot of men don't understand that. They don't understand what intimacy is. And then the second portion is men are afraid that if they know that they can't perform when it comes time to, they know that the intimacy is eventually going to lead to them having to perform. And so if you haven't had those conversations and you haven't gained understanding in that area, then you're going to shy away from it all in all. And ultimately what's going to happen is not only are you going to shy away from it, but if she or he keeps asking for it and she or he isn't able to perform, eventually it's going to turn into frustration, and frustration turns into arguing, and arguing turns into people being upset.
Yeah. It's crazy because, you know, a lot of women get, just women as a gender now get a bad rap for not being loyal. But I spoke to many women that they're in these marriages like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and are still loyal, not stepping out, and still maintaining this relationship with their spouses.
Bro, I got a friend of mine. She was literally with her husband, and she was telling me they were not intimate for over a year and a half.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
And she threatened him and said, "Look, if you don't have sex with me by the end of this year, I'm leaving." And gave him 3 more months, and he still didn't touch her. He did not want to end the marriage. He just got to a point where he could not perform anymore. Now, a portion of it that I was explaining to her was how she spoke to him out of frustration.
Right. She gave him an
Emasculated
ultimatum.
him.
Complete emasculation.
And so when I explained that to her, I was like, you know, you've been with this person for so long, and both of you have been aggressive, and you turn your aggression off because you like, wait, you know, like if you ain't showing up, I ain't showing up.
Exactly.
And then when he didn't show up, you voiced your frustration, but it emasculated him. And once he became emasculated, like it's important for women to know a lot of a man's erection is his confidence.
Looking at camera right there and let him know.
A lot of his erection is his confidence. So when his confidence goes out the window, the unfortunate thing is that his ability to perform will greatly diminish as well too. Oh, and so that's what happened. Now I don't necessarily blame her. I blame both of them.
Yeah.
Because there has to be understanding on both parts.
Yeah.
Because as a man, and this is just my personal opinion, not my professional opinion, but my personal opinion is that there are areas that we got to lead.
Right.
And you need to set the standard for where you're going to lead in those areas. Okay. Before the relationship starts. Now you can either express those implied or you can express those through action. Okay. So you can either talk about it or you can actually do it. Now, if you set the table where you're the aggressor when it comes to sex, meaning like you initiate, okay? And then the tables turn where you're not initiating because you like, well, I want you to initiate, and you just turn it off without talking, that's your fault. You see what I'm saying? So that's sort of what I always tell people. It's all about communication. And I think the vast majority of relationships are ending because of unexpressed expectations.
Wow.
People aren't expressing what their expectations are.
Yeah.
And when people get frustrated, they don't know how to communicate that. And especially when it comes to sex, because even though everybody's having it, it's still a taboo conversation.
Yeah.
Like, like maybe you like something weird.
Yeah.
Maybe you like something spiritual. Like, baby, before we have sex, I want to pray over you. But then I want you to pray over me too. Like, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be works for you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but like most of the time, that's why it's not working. People aren't talking.
Well, see, so these relationships, not all of them are ending. Some of them are staying, and it's the men that's still in these, relationships. And I'm just curious to your thoughts on this one, because if a man is having erectile dysfunction, he knows it, the wife knows it, so forth, and he is still continuing to stay in the relationship, isn't it safe to assume that it's probably a bunch of other things not going well in that relationship? Because I just can't understand how, if sex is so important to men,
yeah,
I can't imagine a guy only failing in this sole area of sex and everything else is going good.
Well, you got to understand that in most cases, this is a health issue. And if you have one problem with health, it means you're going to have many problems with health. Erectile function isn't just by itself. Most people are going to have hypertension. Most people are going to have high cholesterol. Most of them are going to be overweight. Most of them are going to have low testosterone. So erectile dysfunction is just a symptom. It's not the cause. So you're going to see many symptoms. So of course, that's going to leak out into the relationship in all facets.
I like that angle better than your dick not working.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You are not healthy. It's
You're
much
not
better
healthy
than your penis is
Yeah,
struggling.
yeah.
But see, I think the biggest thing though that you stated that I think can't be understated was how talk about different areas gets affected. If a man is not sexually performing well, his confidence as a man is hit. So like your confidence is what you use and carry in all different areas of your life.
Yeah.
And if you're not feeling strong like a man, your handshake probably ain't as firm. You probably not negotiating as well as you should be. You probably not as aggressive in life as you probably should be, really living on your edge. So I can see how how a biological issue can even become psychological very fast.
Yeah, because even like low testosterone leads to reduced motivation. Okay, assertiveness goes down. So our hormones aren't just about sex; they're also about who we are as people too.
Yeah.
So it changes who we are. If your testosterone goes up, it's going to make you more aggressive. It's going to make you have more muscle, which is going to make you more confident. You see what I'm saying?
Man,
it goes down. It does just the opposite.
I got a vulnerable story, man, because this actually really is taking me back. I remember in high school, man, Dr. Bobby, I had a girl. I had got a girl for my first serious girlfriend.
Okay.
Right in my junior year, and it was about a week before my birthday. And, we've been kind of talking crazy. I was a virgin at this time. And we was kind of talking crazy, talking about all the stuff we was going to do. So I knew it was going down. She was like, on your birthday, Ty, you're going to get some.
You better be ready.
So it was kind of crazy because like, sometimes a lot of dudes, they kind of just fall into it. But see, mine already knew what was happening. So it was like a pregame before it went down. Like even my shower, I was like, I felt like it was going down. And listen, triple athlete. I played basketball, football, track. In my mind, like I was probably more nervous for this moment than any game I've ever prepped for.
For sure.
So she finally comes over, it's going down, way more nervous than usual. It's kind of crazy. And I'm usually cool, confident. I'm nervous as hell.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you, Dr. Bobby, this chick lays down and I'm talking about I would not get up. First time ever having sex.
Yeah.
And I'm in my mind like, and all I could think about was the fact that all I can think about now, I'm not even thinking about her. I'm just like, bro, you're blowing it right now. In my mind, I'm like, bro, you're blowing it. And she's like, baby, come on.
Yeah.
Baby, come on.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, after that night, because I felt like a shame. First time ever going at it. First time. I'm like, I can't have kids. I'm done. Matter of fact, I gotta practice with a slut. I'm having all of these demonic thoughts running through my mind.
Yeah.
It flooded my mind so much that literally I'm like, yo, we gotta try this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
I skipped practice in the morning.
Yeah.
Went straight to her house as soon as her parents left. Skipped it. Went straight to her house as soon as her parents left. And I don't know, I just kind of felt very different. I just felt a lot more relaxed. My mind wasn't flooded. And boy, I mean, I knocked it down like I was doing it my whole life. And I'm talking about the way I walked back into school, knowing that my manhood was intact and that my body worked how it should and has always been prior. I was like, whoa, felt so much. But see, then I mean, I was like 17 years old. It was all psychological.
Yeah, and let me give you a gem and all the fellas a gem to kind of why that happens that way. Because you were so much in your mind and you weren't in your body.
I wasn't.
Okay. And then when you're in your body, that's when you can perform physically. Okay. So like I'll give you for instance, whenever I was playing basketball, like in high school, I would notice I would have a game where I would drop like 25, 30, and then I would come back and have a game where I have 10.
Yes.
I'm like, what is that? And the games where I would have 10, those are the games I always remember. I wouldn't remember the great games. But what I started to put together was the pattern. The games that I would have like 10 points, I was thinking too much.
Yes.
I was like, you got to make sure you flick it just right.
Your instincts wasn't that flow. You wasn't flowing.
Yeah, well, I wasn't instinctual. I wasn't in my body. The games where I had like 25, 30, I don't even remember the games. Because the whole time I'm just playing. I don't even know the score.
Yeah.
Because I'm just hooping. I'm doing my best the whole time. It's the same thing when it comes to sex. If you're in your mind, you can't perform. But if you get in your body, then you can perform.
Man.
So one of those mental hurdles that I think guys have a lot of issue getting over is the minute man hurdle.
Yeah.
And some guys just kind of get stuck in that situation where they just nut quick.
Yeah.
And I'm just very curious, is that considered, or is that like some part of erectile dysfunction, or is that some different sort of issue?
It could be, but a lot of times a lot of men just aren't in tune with their bodies. Like there's a way you can control your ejaculation.
I mean, don't keep the secret. I mean, what's the deal?
So, fellas, notepads out, fellas.
Yeah.
Right. So, matter of fact, the ladies putting it out for they fellas.
Yeah.
Is it as simple as self-control?
No, it's not that. It's not willpower.
Okay.
Like
what's technique?
That willpower stuff, it doesn't work.
Okay.
Because like I'll give you for instance, if you get in a ring with Mike Tyson in 1992, I don't care how much willpower you got, you going down.
Right.
What works is preparation, understanding, and technique. That's what works. Okay. And so when it comes to premature ejaculation, it's because men just don't not. First of all, you gotta get in your body. Okay. Most of the time, men are so excited.
That's true. Excitement has a lot to do with that. Yeah.
When you get in your mind, the only thing you're going to think about is ejaculation. And the more you think about it, it is going to happen.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Good point.
So you got to get into your body. When you get into your body, I always tell people, the body is a beautiful slave, but a horrible master. Okay. So you gotta tell your body what to do.
Yeah.
You can't let your body just do whatever it wants to do. Okay. When you do that, this is why people get anxiety. They have anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
Because now your body, nothing is going on to have anxiety, but now you have an anxiety because your body is doing the job of the mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
Okay. So the first thing that's really important is, okay, whenever you're about to have an erection, what happens to your heart rate?
Start going fast.
Goes up. What happens to your breath?
You start breathing.
Start breathing hard.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You're excited. Calm the fuck down.
Okay.
Okay. So you got to control your breathing. That's the first thing.
Hold on, wait, this Slayer, hit that Slayer real quick. Cause I know Dr. Bobby Price be laying him down. By the way, he coaching y'all fellas right now. Go ahead.
Cool. So I do breathing exercises every morning, not for sex, because breath is the breath of life. There's the number one nutrient in the world is oxygen. 2 to 3 minutes without oxygen, we die. We can go weeks without food, go without water, drink, but 2 to 3 minutes out oxygen, we die. So if you can control your breath, you can control life. So every morning I'm doing breath exercises. During sex, it's the same thing. You got to control your breathing. Okay. You breathe too hard, you're going to get excited. That's how it works. All right. The other thing or tip, I'll give you this one and then we're going to stop. because I ain't gonna give you all my sauce.
Okay. We got you.
All right, the drip is for sale,
Right.
you know, but the sauce, like that, you know, that you gotta inherit that. Yeah. And so the next thing is there's an area between your scrotum and your anus called the perineum. Perineum.
On the streets, we call it the gooch.
Okay, cool. All right. the gooch.
Oh,
All right.
the
That little
perineum.
area right there. When you feel an urge, like you're about to have an ejaculation, you need to squeeze it.
Punch that thing right
Okay.
there.
All right. I'll give you that.
wait. You squeeze it with what?
So women understand how to
Tighten the
squeeze or
joint.
tighten their pelvic floor.
Got you.
Okay.
Got you.
You got to understand how the human anatomy works. Okay. The ejaculation comes from the scrotum. Okay. But there's an area in between there that's very key to that. as
Okay,
well,
so we
too.
definitely should have brought like a diagram or something. I'm really trying to get the full vision of this.
Yeah.
This is on the way of a superior man. Dr. Bobby Price is tapped in right here, son.
So the
He gives
woman,
that
the
exercise.
woman squeezes. So if this is the penis, I'll use my longer finger. This is the penis.
Okay.
And the woman squeezes it with her pelvic muscles.
No. She doesn't do anything. This on you.
It's on us.
Oh, okay.
You have to contract that area in between there. Okay. Even when I'm doing my breathing exercises, I'm teaching myself how to do it.
So you're also contracting it over and over again to strengthen that muscle while you're
Yes.
going ahead and breathing.
Yeah, it's about control. You got to get in your body.
Yes.
You got to tell your body what to do.
And that's a muscle most men may not have ever exercised before.
And they should, because that's where your prostate is.
And give me that muscle again.
It's the area is the perineum.
The
That area,
perineum.
right between your scrotum and your anus.
Okay.
Okay. You know, pause. And so the important thing
I'm
is
just practicing trying to clench it.
Yeah. So the important thing is to contract that area, because that is where your prostate is. It's connected to your ejaculation.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can control it by that way as well, too.
Fellas, if you busting off quick and your lady is unsatisfied, listen, you need to run that back over and over again, because he did give you the game.
And slow down. Like, and let her know when I slow down, it's because I'm mastering myself. She don't know what it is.
Tell her to shut up.
So nah, man. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to get, like, that's why people don't be having conversations, brother. Like, so when she understand what you're doing, she's like, all right, I know what this is. He looking out for me right now. You see what I'm saying? So she's like, do your thing. Slow down. That's actually a point where I slow down, and that's the kissing, the intimacy I give her.
Yeah.
While I'm controlling. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm giving her the kissing, the intimacy, the grabbing, you know, the sucking, like all that part. I do that. Now it's control. Now we started back up again.
But you know, too, when you slow down, another big part I've noticed too sexual is like you really get to almost get in tune, and feel every part of this experience. And I think that's too something that I didn't do when early on in my sexual experiences. You very rabid in the experience, where you really don't even feel every aspect of the sexual experience, because a woman actually really put me on game one time. She said that she was like, hey, you have to listen to my body.
Yes.
She said, listen to my body. And it took me a while to understand what she was saying, but you only can listen and understand kind of and really get in tune when you slow down and feel what's really going on, because she does communicate exactly what needs to happen, when to speed up, when to do this, when to do that, when to turn it, when to go deep, you know, without getting too graphic. But that's a like slowing down is like a really huge part of staying in control of the experience.
Yep.
And that's a hell of a tip. But you know, I think a lot of guys too, because of our egos, we don't even try to learn how to become better in this part of our lives.
Nope. I don't think that's just guys. I think just people in general.
Yeah, it's people in general.
Don't study sex.
I think women are more open to learning about sex than us.
I'm not saying they're not open to learning it. I'm not saying they're not open. I'm not saying they're not open, but nobody is reading sexual position. I think
women are diving into the sex world, but more than we are.
In toys, maybe, but I don't know, like Karma Sutra and stuff like. Maybe ladies, I'm gonna throw that. I'm gonna drop that in the poll. Maybe the women are.
Ask the ladies, man.
I doubt it though.
These ladies on here learning relationships. They on here figuring out how to be a wife. They on here. Their name is
I
wife.
didn't see them in that. I've been going to the library, Dr. Bobby, and I ain't seen them in that section.
That's the private group chats, ladies. I want to know that too. That's actually a really good question. But I know for sure with men, our egos, we already think we the best thing smoking.
Yep.
We already think that we can lay it down.
Yeah.
Even if our sex is trash, we ain't trying to hear it. We know we went in there and we did our thing.
Yeah.
But that just might not be the case.
Well, I think the thing is it's all about intention. So like if you set out with the intention, like, see, the best example I always give people is like when it comes to sex, it's like lighting another person's candle, right? Me lighting your candle doesn't take out my flame. Make sense? The comparison I'm making to that is me wanting to please you does not take away my pleasure. It actually adds to your pleasure and makes the entire experience more enjoyable. So I think that for the most part, most men don't set out with the intention to truly please the woman.
That's a really good
You see what I'm saying?
Really great point.
Dr. Bob, I'm curious about this because, fortunately, I don't have the issue of becoming erect, right? But, I am still curious about the second and third and fourth times and kind of when a guy continues to have sex in the, let's say, a singular session.
Yeah.
What's the average time for your second response? Like once you have a nut or ejaculate the first time, how long should it take you to get erect again?
Everybody's different, brother. I know that we want to make this cookie cutter statistic
Just
about how long
minutes,
somebody's
baby.
along or how long it takes somebody to recover, but everybody is different.
So it's no average standard time that.
Nah, because I mean,
what are the top men doing?
I mean,
what are the best men doing?
You may have one man who he may go only one time, but he goes for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? You may have another man, he goes for 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes later, he can go right back again for another 10 minutes.
And you know what I noticed has a big effect on that? How aroused and attracted you are to that woman.
Yeah.
Like, because if you are extremely attracted to a woman, like, let me tell you, first of all, I don't even know. Listen, she bad enough. I think erectile dysfunction can run out the window. I'll tell you that, but that thing starts to function. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely helps.
I think it helps, but I think some level of.
I think what also helps is knowing that both people are mutually pouring into each other too. Because if you're just doing the work, then it just feels like work.
Yeah.
But if you're pouring into her and she's pouring into you, it's an experience now.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I want to do this again. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's a big thing. I also think, unfortunately, again, health plays an issue as well too. Because again, that's blood flow.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So maybe you got the blood flow initially, but then now it's like, you timed out.
Is there such thing as having too much sex? Is that possible?
I don't know I don't know anything about that. But
now come on, Dr. Bobby.
Too much sex?
Too much sex. Is there such thing? Because this is what I'm saying.
I mean, it definitely is when it comes to focus and productivity. Absolutely.
Well, I'm just talking about in terms of
are you talking about from a physical standpoint?
So I've had weekends where I just went on massive sex capades, and I just one woman, and we just do it 15 times in like 2-3 days. And I found myself sometimes thinking with myself, this can't be healthy because things happen. It's friction, one, and then like you get this.
Are you ejaculating each time?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
I am. And it's that tightness that you get. Like it's like the
numbness.
It's like a numbness from like nutting too many times in a short amount of time or something like that.
This shit turned to something else, y'all.
No, I mean, look, he already told me which direction my penis should be pointing up when it gets hard. So I'm just trying to figure out, is there, because maybe some women are wanting sex 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, is that healthy? Could that literally be too much ejaculation?
3 or 4 times a week?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times a week is so.
I'm
So
cool
let me
with-
ask you,
I'm
what
cool
what do you
with 4
consider?
times, 6.
We had guests on the platform that literally said, based upon, I don't know what damn data this was, but they said 1 to 2 times a week that's like healthy sex life.
Really?
1 to 2 times a week, based on numbers and data, healthy sex life. Do you think, based upon like what you know of, what is like that target of what like a healthy amount of time you should be having sex with your partner? Like what's that ideal number?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, brother. Like, let me first give you a disclaimer. I am not a relationship expert. I can only tell you from my personal experience. I can tell you from my personal experience and my best relationships. In those relationships, we had sex daily.
Yeah.
To be honest with
Like 7 days a week.
you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe 6, but daily. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Because of, like my attraction and that's my way of experiencing another way of experiencing feminine energy too.
Yeah.
I go out in the world and my idea is to slay, conquer dragons.
Yeah.
And when I come home, I want to experience my woman's feminine energy in many ways, not just sexually, but man, if God made anything better than a woman, he kept it for himself.
Wait, so 1 time a day, every time you ejaculate, every time.
Not for me. I don't ejaculate every time. I intentionally do that.
Wow.
Got you.
So you
Yeah.
retain.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now,
Gotcha.
let's go into that a bit, because obviously we talked about semen retention from a few different angles before, but I want to talk about it here. What's your reason for retaining your semen?
Well, first of all, from a health perspective, like semen isn't just something you just ejaculate out or make a baby with. It's also energy in the body as well.
It's like life force.
It's life force, man.
Dr. Bobby, that's what I was
that can
saying.
that's creating the world that we have today in terms of humans.
Right.
So that's a life force that is inside of the body. So in the book, what is it called?
Way of a Spirit?
No. Rich.
Think and Grow Rich.
Drink and Grow Rich. Yes.
Mm.
There's a chapter called Sexual Transmutation.
Yep.
Okay. That's taking your sexual energy and using that energy to create in life. It's taking that sexual energy, instead of always pouring it into a woman, taking it and pouring into writing a book, taking it in terms of accomplishing a new goal, going to the gym, etc. So I do semen retention, not every day or every time, but I intentionally retain my semen in some instances where I'm having sex, because I know I got things to do.
Yeah.
So what's
And
the end goal when you're having sex and you not planning on ejaculating?
Intimacy, connection, sharing energy with each other. It's just it's a physical way of letting her know I care about her.
Do you have a number that you try to not exceed a week, or is it just based upon how you feeling personally? Like,
Now,
what
I
kind
know
of
my
phase you
body.
in?
I know my body. And so, when you think about what's in semen, there's so many minerals like zinc and other minerals that are in semen, that when you're constantly ejaculating, you're losing that vitality in your body.
Right.
So you literally could, end up getting a cold. And you're like, damn, where does cold come from?
That's Dr. Bobby. That's why I said that. I literally had a conversation with Tyshawn. I'm like, yo, Tyshawn, it's been 13 times in 2 days. I said, bro, I'm sick as fuck. You remember I called you?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'm sick as shit. I said, I'm pretty sure it was from over ejaculation.
Yeah.
The funny thing was we use it because we know one of the vitamins, the minerals you lose is zinc. When you're not. We got like an inside joke. We be like, damn, I'm zinced out, man.
Zinced out.
I'm zinced out right
Zinced
now,
out.
boy.
I
Gotta
was sick as
re-zink
a
up.
dog.
Yeah.
But I get that now, because that's your nutrients. You got to keep that in.
Yeah.
I've considered semen retention, but I've never really practiced it. I think that's a good idea.
That makes a lot of sense. I want to ask this too, because going back into the conversation, because this thing it's a roller coaster ride. I didn't even know we was gonna be going. I didn't know y'all was about to be getting stroke lessons by Dr. Bobby Price tonight, but it's going there tonight, y'all. So let's announce that poll before we go into the next thing real quick.
Yeah, we got 140 votes on the poll. Is your partner struggling to get it up? We got 53% of people say thankfully no. So 25% of people says yes, and then we got another 22% says I think there might be issues. So clearly the conversation is needed, Dr. Bobby.
Gotcha.
Shout out to K-Ann sending over that super chat. K-Ann always showing us love. K-Ann, we appreciate you. I'm trying to figure out which way I'm looking.
Love you, K.
The best men are reading the room. If she seem If she seems done, he get his kicks and stop. If she wants more, he's finding more energy somewhere. That might be that Viagra. That might be that blue pill.
Yes, right now we in subscriber only mode too. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the channel so you can go ahead and join the chat. I need everybody right now to subscribe and make sure y'all are showing us love. If you're not going to be a member, at least subscribe. And members, y'all better be subscribed. Show us this love as we keep getting this thing going.
Oh yeah, this is good too, because we got over 250 people in the room, guys. Let's get 150 likes. Hit that like button. We got 74 likes. Let's get to 150 real quick.
And yes,
I still want to get an idea of libido though, because
that's exactly where I want to go next, because I want to make sure we understand these words, because I have a general idea just off context what libido is, but help us understand, Dr. Bobby Price, what is libido?
It's for me is a natural urge to want to have sex, to engage in sex, and some people don't have that natural urge.
That was actually my question, because is it true that some people literally, naturally, like you said, just have lower libidos than others?
Yes, but what I will tell you is that when you look out in nature, nature has created it such that it wants us to reproduce.
Right.
I mean, even when you look at a mango tree, you know, a mango tree starts with a seed been put in the soil, it grows, makes a tree. Thousands of mangoes grow on this tree. They fall to the ground. They either nourish the ground, or you could take the mango seed somewhere else, plant it in the ground, and it'll create another tree. So life wants to reproduce and grow. All right.
Yeah.
So the idea that somebody doesn't have urge, doesn't have libido, isn't natural in the sense of how nature works. Okay. Especially if you have none. Now, everybody's levels are different.
Right.
Okay. And that's because everybody's hormonal levels are different. Everybody's biology is somewhat different biochemically as well, too. And so if you take somebody like I was saying this on another interview that I was doing, when you look at male testosterones in 1980, it was around about 500. In the 1990s, it was around about 425. In the mid 2000s, it was somewhere around 325, and today it's around 250.
Woo.
Okay. Now, when I'm comparing that to the fact that our ancient ancestors, they were walking around with a testosterone level between 1,000 and 1,500.
Wow. Them nuts was
they
dropped.
was turned.
They would beat your ass.
They was turned.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
we're drastically moving into the wrong
literally
direction.
A quarter of the man.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to understand, like I was saying this earlier, our hormones direct us in life. When we go through puberty, they change us. They morph us. They change our voice. They add hair on our bodies. For a man, it adds hair on your face. You know, your balls drop. It changes you. Okay. Hormones change a lady too. You know, they create breasts. They change her. Okay. So the reason why I'm saying that is because what's normal today is really just common, is not normal. Okay. Just because something is common, meaning a lot of people have low testosterone at 250, 300, does not mean that that's normal. Okay. So which means that you're going to be moving through life, not how life in its optimal, situation would have you. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I believe that, you're seeing 33% of men not having sex. You're seeing infertility rates go up, both with men and women, because we're shifting so much, because of our health is plummeting so much.
So the infertility issue, is that completely separate from like erectile dysfunction and the issues that come with that, or are they married together?
No, it's all connected. It's all connected, because you got to understand our sperm counts are about 50% reduced.
Jesus.
So like if we were at 1 million, now it's at 500,000. So everything is shifting. That's what I was saying earlier about health. When you're unhealthy in one place, you're unhealthy every place, especially with hormones. If you got a thyroid disorder, it's going to throw off every other hormone in your body. If you got too much estrogen in your body, it's going to throw off every other hormone in your body. because they don't work independent and separately of each other. They work together. So when one is thrown off, all of them is thrown off. So if you got an insulin issue, insulin is a hormone, okay, created by the pancreas to lower our blood sugar. If you're producing too much insulin in the body, guess what? You're going to throw every other hormone off in the body.
So I just want to confirm the thyroids and the fibroids and the insulin, all hormonal imbalances.
Not fibroids.
Not fibroids, okay.
A lot of people have what's called Hashimoto's, or they have hypothyroidism, meaning they're not producing enough thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay. When you're not producing enough, the body has to compensate. It has to adapt. It will shift other hormones in the body. Now, initially, that's helpful for you, but eventually that adaptation or compensation creates dysfunction in the body.
Different problems.
Yes.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, just even when you think about the times we in with the lack thereof, you know, the things that we're receiving in our body and our foods and just the hormones we have, like intentionality in your health is like really mandatory.
Yeah.
At this point in time, like you really have to understand what's going on with your health and with your body, people. So I'm really like, y'all really need to make sure y'all tapped in and listening to this conversation. Is there a way to measure the libido levels in your body? Is there a way to measure that? Or is that just kind of a feeling of like, just kind of understanding your sexual arousal?
I think it's more subjective.
And see, the reason I asked that is because we literally had a young lady on here that said, yo, I'm with my husband. What was her name? Just the Coach Kent.
Jack Star.
Jack Star. She literally said, how long did she go without sex? She had sex every 6 months.
It's been 9 years.
She says about every 6 months she has sex, and it drives her crazy. Now, it wasn't that bad at
drives
first.
Her crazy that they're not having sex
that they're not having sex more. Okay. She wants to have sex.
Okay, good.
And she says literally like every day she battles. She says she wants to cheat. She fights it every single day. Because, by the way, good man, good husband.
Just a natural human urge.
But see, it wasn't like that originally, she stated.
Yeah.
It was like, maybe they'll do it.
I think it was leading into it. It was doing a bit more often before the marriage. And then after the marriage is when it kind of
progressively
very
worse.
Much slow down.
Okay, gotcha.
But it is the issue. It's the erectile dysfunction, though, because I think they may have had some experience with, like, which I still don't know about this, the pellets or something in the hip.
And I want to get into that, but see, where I want to start at is like she stated from the beginning, their sexual desires from the get-go wasn't really aligned. Like their libidos wasn't really matched from the get-go, and she accepted it because he was good, and it progressively got worse. Now they're really unaligned. Should somebody, I want to get your opinion, should somebody seriously consider somebody, assuming, let's be more specific, a young lady dating a guy, he's not as sexually active or, not desiring sex as much as she would like, but checking off a few of the other boxes.
Yeah, for sure.
In your opinion, do you think she should look at just going a different direction altogether in a guy solely based off his sexual desire? Or is that something that she should look to compromise on when having a long-term relationship?
I always say, like, is it a non-negotiable or is it negotiable? You got to know what your non-negotiables are. And if that's non-negotiable for her in terms of like intimacy and, having that connection where like it's consistent sexually and they have the same energy, if it's non-negotiable, then you should not make the choice to be with this person, because ultimately you're going to end up where you are now. Now, if it's negotiable, like sex isn't everything for you and you can deal with intimacy in other capacities, then fine, move forward. But just understand that, you're going to get what you got, and so I always tell people it's just based upon the relationship. Is it non-negotiable or is it negotiable?
Man, and listen, Jack, that's a question you really need to ask yourself, because it sucks when it's a woman smack dab in the middle of a marriage who's made a commitment for the rest of her life, and now she's having to ask herself that question, on her 10th year of marriage.
Yeah, it's tough, bro. Yeah, but not only do women make those bad decisions, men do too. Like a lot of men make the mistake of living out their sexual fantasies with women who are very, educated in the bedroom, and then they
Freaks.
and then they get with a woman who's the good girl who maybe isn't as versed in the bedroom. And in their minds, they're like, well, it'll work because she's a good girl and I love her and I'll teach her.
Oh, wow.
But if that's not something she aspires to, if it's not something that is in her, and you can put the shoe on the reverse foot, like for a woman. If that's not something that's in them, and it's not something they're aspiring to, then you're probably setting yourself up for failure.
Oh, hold on, wait, you saying something now, Dr. Bobby Price.
Yeah.
You saying something. Because a lot of dudes feel that way because everybody wants to wife the good girl. Like it's a couple weirdos out there that's actually, but for the most part, you don't want somebody that's loose, that's out there. And for the most part, you're right, especially guys who have had multiple sexual experiences. And obviously they like what they like. They like it on the wild side. They like to live on a dark side. And it's a young lady that you like. She's a good girl. As far as a long-term partner, you see her somebody you can build with.
Yeah.
But she's much more sexually conservative. You saying a long-term, it could be some issue. But see, the weird thing is, some ladies say things like, like I'm safe. We got to save that for marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, like they can't whip out all their tricks right now.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? Like, should you wait or allow a woman to fully express herself after marriage, or should you vet in the dating stage? Should you use that as your like temperature? I almost imagine like it's not going to get any better than it is here. Is that a safer expectation when it comes to vetting a woman and making that decision as a man?
Well, I always tell people you can't tell people what to do. You can't allow them to do something or blah, 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 blah. So you got to make a choice. Most people aren't making a true choice. Okay. Most people aren't getting to know their partner. And so from my perspective, what I will tell you is that, again, it goes back to the whole thing. Is it a non-negotiable or negotiable? But what I will tell you, this is most women don't pull their bag of tricks out until much later.
Much later, meaning after marriage?
Much later in the relationship.
Okay.
That's the truth. And that her pulling that bag of tricks out is going to depend on you, because the thing is, like, for most women, when they get with a man that they know they want to be with and they see potential in this going long term, most women want to sort of make sure like they don't scare you away.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And you're doing the same thing.
But it can't be too open, you saying?
Yeah, and we're doing the same thing as men.
Yeah.
We're doing certain things to make sure we don't scare them away either.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But we're masking ourselves. You see what I'm saying? And that's what happens later on in the relationship, because there's unexpressed expectations and communication. Now we get together and you say, well, I don't want to pull out my bag of tricks. I was like, okay, cool. Well, let me know what's in the bag. Can I see what's in the bag? You ain't gotta perform what's in the bag, but at least I want to know what's in the bag so I can know what we're moving to. Like when we get in this relationship, and these are my expectations that they're going to be met. And a woman should do the same thing. Like, hey, I noticed that you're not that aggressive in the bedroom. I would like you to be a little bit more aggressive now.
A different script on that one.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it that way.
Yeah, like just being more assertive. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he may say, well, like, kind of saving myself to like that marriage that I want to really make our honeymoon special.
Yeah, I don't want to choke you till we,
and so,
nah.
She may be like, all right, well, let's talk, let's fantasize, let's have some conversations about it.
Have some healthy sex talk, some non-actual sex-related sex talk. Where
that's the problem. For most people, to be honest with you, they're gonna say like, I love you, you love me, let's do whatever we're gonna do to please each other. You see what I'm saying? But like, I think most people just aren't really getting to know people anymore. They have a social media sort of vetting process. Swipe right, check the boxes. What's in the bio? All right, cool. Let's roll with it. But people aren't having these very intimate conversations to understand each other on a deeper level.
Surface level.
So later on, it shows up what you didn't talk about.
What does like the recovery process of erectile dysfunction look like?
Um,
Like how can I, work collaboratively with my woman if I'm having that kind of issue?
like work directly with the woman. Well, first of
Yeah.
all, I think it's like, first of all, we figure out like, all right, let's communicate what the issue is. Let's communicate what my feelings are behind it. Let her communicate what her feelings and concerns have and frustrations have been behind it. All right, let's work towards a solution now that our feelings are out. We don't have anything to hold back anymore. What is the solution? Okay. All right, so we're gonna eat healthier. Okay, depending on who cooks in the house. All right, so these are the meals that are going to be prepared. These are the foods that are no longer in the house anymore. All right, we're going to exercise together more. This is what it's going to look like. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're walking through the neighborhood. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we're going to yoga and we're going to the weight room. Okay, so there's a real actual plan in place. All right, so that's how you work with your partner. They need to see you working in that direction. Right.
Got it.
Okay. And if you working with them, we going to the gym together, we eating different together, then they know you working towards that direction. So even if in the meantime, in the healing process where you haven't completely healed, they can respect it.
Is it okay for them to have some level of resentment while they're going through that process?
I think it's human. I think it's human to be frustrated.
Right.
I think people get resented when they see there's no effort, when there's neglect. But when I feel like when there's proper communication and people have come to an agreement about what the solution are and you're working together towards that solution, I feel like the resentment goes out of the window, and there may still be some frustration because they're human, but people can deal with frustration.
I want to ask this though. How long, a healthy man, how long should his sex life be able to carry out? Like what's the duration? Because I think libido levels, they do evolve and change from your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. What is that like decline, if you will, look like, and what should it be?
Well, they say by the age 70, 60% of men have erectile dysfunction.
Hold on. That was a bar.
Yeah. So
an unfortunate bar.
Yeah.
70 years old.
Yeah. By the age 70, 60% of men have erectile dysfunction. But here's the thing. I've had men come in to the hospital or to the clinic to pick up prescriptions for Viagra, and they're 82. So they still want to have sex.
Right.
Like, don't think just because people are older, like the urge isn't still there. You see what I'm saying? So like, and especially for a man, like a man in his 80s can still have children. You see what I'm saying? So the urge will be there for a man as long as he's healthy. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on his level of health.
So this is kind of crazy. So when you have erectile dysfunction, you have just as much as of a fire and an urge to have sex, and you just not getting up, is what you're saying?
Yeah, you could still have libido, the urge to have sex, but not have the function to perform. Wow. So the libido quite often is a psychological component.
Yeah.
And then the erectile dysfunction is the physical component. You see what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Man, that makes a lot of sense. So, man, Dr. Bobby, you give me some game right now. So let's talk about, you talking about that brother going in there, the old brother going in there for, shout out to you, brother. Because by the way, to know that the libido can last and live that long is exciting. Because I'm trying to be one of them 40%ers that's making it past 70 years old and still able to go ahead and please my lady. But I want to talk about the honey packs, the gas station pills. Ooh. I want to talk about the short-term solutions, because we actually had a brother here that wanted us to put the honey packs up as an item to sell to people for promotion. And we turned it down, y'all. We said, listen, that's against, we stand for some Harley initiative. I'm not selling my men no damn honey packs.
It was all natural, whatever that means.
All natural honey pack, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me about the honey pack.
First of all, implicitly stay out of the gas station to solve your
sexual
no rock hard weekends.
Yo, stay out of the gas station.
That's one of them, rock hard weekend.
Okay, sound like what?
Really? Yeah, I see it all the time up there, rock hard weekend.
That is well branded, by the way.
Well branded.
Okay, so yes, stay out of the gas station, because here's the thing: ultimately, in the long run, that's going to make things even more complicated and dysfunctional, because most of those things affect the heart. Most of those things will eventually affect the blood flow, because most of it is just trash in terms of the ingredients that are in many of these weekend pills.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend, instead of trying to address the symptom,
Yeah.
to address the cause with a lot of men. Now, I know a lot of men, stop in the gas station to grab these things, but from my experience, it actually makes things worse in the long run.
And is it all of them? Because I get how the gas station pills work, but what about the honey packs? Because I know fellas, listen,
I'm gonna tell you, I don't know any of these.
Okay.
you don't know the honey packs?
Nah, I don't know about any of these.
I've used the honey pack a couple times, and I feel like it worked. I want to say it worked, but it could have just been mental.
No, the honey packs do work. They do work. So what happens is, and it is supposedly all natural. It's like a bunch of sugar, ginseng, like things to
That's trash. Sugar?
Well, it's honey. It's honey. It's like real honey packaged in ginseng and like a bunch of other like horny goat weed and like a bunch of other stuff like things that really get you going.
Okay.
And you take it's all packaged in honey.
Yeah.
You take a tube of it,
like a little Go-Gurt, except for it's honey inside.
and here's why I know it works, because you literally feel your heart rate increase,
Which is not good.
like you feel your heart rate increase and your desire.
So that's the mechanism of action, is to increase the heart rate, because that's increasing what?
Blood flow.
Circulation.
Right.
Okay. But you're gonna have to pay the cost of unnaturally stimulating your heart to beat that fast. Now, what I will say is the one ingredient that you mentioned, the horny goat weed, that is an actual herb that is, I would say that one's useful.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know I would very seriously doubt that the honey is actually real honey.
No, for sure.
Yeah, I would seriously
sure.
doubt that, because even most honey that you buy, even in a Whole Foods, is not
BS.
real honey. So I would highly doubt that that's real honey. That's the first thing. So it's really probably high fructose corn syrup, which again,
I think it is.
So which again, down the line is going to complicate things.
Well, okay, so is Viagra not included in that same thing that eventually to complicate things? Or Viagra, okay, same, just a drug or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
A Viagra is what is called a PDE5 inhibitor. Okay. PDE is in the endothelial lining of all the blood vessels, okay? Specifically in the penis, okay? When it's inhibited, that's what causes the blood to flush into the penis, and then it retains the venous flow, which means that it keeps the blood into the penis as well, too. That's what keeps the erection.
Wow.
Okay? There are natural things out there that are PDE inhibitors. There's also things that increase nitric oxide as well, too. That opens up the blood vessels as well, too.
Does alcohol do that? Because it's
now alcohol does the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is
so why do people have good sex? Like the sex is
psychological. When you drink alcohol, what do? You lose your inhibitions.
Oh, so even though you may feel more erect, or you may feel more confident, it's still
you feel more confident.
Feel more confident. Okay, got you.
So that's what alcohol does. It's like you go out, right, to the bar, you're all nervous, you want to talk to a girl, you see she's fine over there, you ain't got no courage. You drink a little bit of toxic liquid courage. All of a sudden, you're like, I'm about to go do this.
Got you.
You got the courage. All right, you go over there. Now you're confident. You walk away. She says no. You like, cool. You see somebody else walk by, you go like, you still confident.
Hey, what up?
You see what I'm saying? So like, it's really about confidence. It's not that the alcohol increased the blood flow or anything.
Really,
I can see that being an issue though, because I know guys who they regularly have some a liquor or two when they get ready to have sex. I think women probably see that too. Probably a guy or two that they might be messing with. Usually some kind of drinks involved.
Yeah.
So over time, I'm assuming the liquor just kind of
makes it worse.
It makes the situation worse. Okay.
So let me tell you, the funny thing is a lot of people in here are actually lost, and it's the ladies, because listen, ladies, y'all do not know the secrets and what men go through in the background of actually wanting to perform. Because again, men want to perform for you guys. So you don't know about all these tricks and trades that men are using to come. So that one time where you thought that man really laid it down and slayed you, he was on a rock hard weekend. You didn't even know what was really going down and flowing through that brother's bloodstream. I remember in high school, I had a dude that wanted to perform with this chick so bad that in high school, I'm talking about we're at peak. All me and my homies, we were athletes.
Yeah.
Like some of the best shape of our lives. Unfortunately for those guys, the best shape they'll ever be at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember they would solicit some of the coaches for Viagra.
Really?
Because like they was like, yo, I'm trying to go crazy on them.
Yeah.
I'm trying
I've
to
heard
go
that, like
crazy
taking
on
a
them.
half a pill or something like that. I've heard
Pop
of that.
a half, and,
Yeah.
and that's what they'll. Hey, look, listen. All right, look, hey, come here. No, just take a half. Don't take the whole thing. All right, just take a half. Take it about an hour before y'all get it going, and put that aside. Matter of fact, bring that other half back.
It's more recreational. I think they're using it. You know what I mean? Like a fun night or something like that. I think they would do something like that. Yeah.
Some people use it like recreationally, like they're thinking to themselves, I want to make sure I perform even better than I normally perform.
Yeah.
As
As opposed to erectile dysfunction. But you need to understand, like, that drug was initially a heart drug. The side effect was an erection. So that's how it became Viagra as we know it today.
Oh, you took it for your heart. Then next thing you know, you got a hard penis.
It was
and it's
for
like,
it was for heart conditions.
wow.
Like high blood pressure. You see what I'm saying? So that was the initial intention of the drug.
wow.
So if you're taking this and you're like a teenager, you got to be careful with that.
I think, it is such a huge pressure to perform. I think men will damn near do anything except for the right things to be able to keep a heart on,
And actually, speaking on that, here's a new thing they're doing. This the ladies probably don't know nothing. Y'all about to get put on game. I want to hear your thoughts on this if you up on this. Have you heard about the penile implants?
Yeah.
So men, matter of fact, before I even
That's not even new either.
So tell me about that. What exactly? So break down the penile implants for the people. What's going on in that world?
And let me tell you something. Anything that doesn't interest me, I'm like, I stay away from it.
Not a peanut, because
like, not my problem.
No, I ain't said, it's not my problem. But what I'm saying is that, man, what I learned in being in medicine, like, I was like one of the first people to graduate in my family. And so I never thought of myself as smarter than my family, because my family, like, everybody got like super common sense.
Yeah.
They got like the kind of common sense where it's like intelligence, like super intelligence. Yeah. And so like I took that with me when I went to college. And as I'm in the medical profession, whenever they would create these like certain things, I'm like, that don't make no damn sense.
That don't make sense. It don't make sense.
I'm like, nah, I'm cool about that, brother. Like,
yeah.
And so like, I know, the first thing was like a pump.
Yeah.
They used to do the pump. It was like a ring where they would use the pump as well. Then they did the penile implants.
I think the penile implant come with the little pump on the hip or something like that, where you can just kind of,
ladies, if you see a man hitting a lever multiple times before it's time to go down, he getting ready. Just know he about to really tear it up.
We had a lady. This was a young lady that I don't know her personally. I just met her a few times, and she had an incredible story about dealing with a guy who had erectile dysfunction, and she said that what ended up happening was he had erectile dysfunction, I believe, over 13 years. She stayed faithful the whole time. She ended up finding out that he was, she ended up filing for divorce. After she filed for divorce, she ended up finding out that he was having an affair. Keep in mind, they're not having sex for 13 years. He was actually having an affair with his coworker, but they wasn't having sex either. She ended up talking to the coworker. They wasn't having sex either. So he's having these two emotional situations going on.
So that's all he can do?
Yeah, that's all he can do. So he never addressed it, the erectile dysfunction, when he was with this particular lady. But after he got divorced, he's only dating the coworker. The coworker pressed him and was like, yo, you really need to get this thing fixed. And the solution was the penile implant. Do you think that it's ever okay for a woman to suggest that her man get something as drastic as a penile implant?
Well, I think it's okay to have a conversation about it. Now, just like a man shouldn't tell a woman what to do with her body, I don't think a woman should tell a man what to do with his. But I think when you are in a relationship with somebody and you're going in a direction that could possibly mean we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, and this is something that needs to be addressed, and that quite possibly may be the only solution that she's aware of.
Yeah.
So because of that reason, that's the only solutions that she's actually suggesting. And from my standpoint, the way I look at it, without knowing much about that situation, is that it sounds like the guy probably hasn't looked for many solutions.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? So maybe he hasn't thought to change his diet. Maybe he hasn't thought I need to increase my testosterone. Maybe he hasn't thought I need to go to the gym more. Maybe he hasn't did anything in the direction of a solution. So when your partner starts naming off solutions that maybe you don't want, then you need to maybe go to the internet or go to your doctor and start to figure out what can you do or what are your options that are on the table.
You know what? And actually speaking about that, let's actually go into that. Okay, because I want to actually speak on some of the healthy options, because obviously you named a couple. You named lifestyle, one. And I think that's probably, would you consider that to be the most important, is to literally just start getting active off the rip, and maybe cardiovascular, whatever the case might be? Is that one of the best natural solutions that you can have to erectile dysfunction?
Well, it's the foundation, because that's the cause. Like, you didn't inherit erectile dysfunction. You created erectile dysfunction with your diet, with your sedentary lifestyle, with deficiencies. Like, it was created in your body. So the only natural solution, or only real solution, is the corrective behavior. You can get a penile implant. That doesn't correct what's going on in your body. You may be able to get an erection, but guess what? The cardiovascular disease is still there. The high blood sugar is still there. You may have an erection, but you have a stroke. Then what? What's the use of a penile implant when half the left side of your body doesn't work anymore?
Yeah, I got
you see what I'm saying?
That medium well wood too. Y'all better listen to it. Watch what's going on.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, when you think about what are the causes, because I think that's something we haven't talked about. One of the primary causes is high insulin in the body. Okay, when the insulin levels get really, really high in the body, the first thing it does is it triggers the body to store fat. Okay, so a lot of men will gain weight, particularly in the belly region.
Is that diabetes?
Well, high insulin, that's how it starts. It creates insulin resistance. So initially, your insulin is able to make your blood sugar levels normal.
Oh, is that the beer gut?
Well, insulin is a hormone that is being pushed out by your pancreas. Each time you eat anything that has sugar in it, it grabs the sugar and takes it inside of the cell. The cell then makes that energy.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Now, what happens is, if you're producing too much insulin in your body, insulin is the hormone. It's going to tell the body to do things, especially when it's too much. And one of those things is going to tell the body to store fat. It's not only going to tell the body to store fat in your belly region, but it's going to tell the body to store fat in the vessels in your penis too. You see what I'm saying? So insulin is an issue as well, because a lot of people eat too much carbs, too much bread, too much pasta, too much pizza, those unhealthy carbs. Okay, so that's a major issue. A lot of people are eating too much sugar.
So my bigger brothers in general, my guys who are just overweight in general and just they storing a lot of fat on them, those guys are they're like at risk in their sexual lives with their erection.
They're at risk in their lives in general. Like, I want to make this point. Erectile dysfunction is like just the canary in the coal mine. They used to see canaries in a coal mine to tell whether or not gas was leaking, because the miners would go into the cave, and if gas was leaking, it would kill everybody. So they sent a canary in there to figure out if this gas was leaking. And if the canary didn't come back out, they knew there was gas in there. Okay. So the erectile dysfunction is just the canary in the coal mine telling you something is wrong. It's not the actual issue. It's not the gas.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you got erectile dysfunction, that's not the real issue. The real issue is the bigger issue.
So
Yeah.
I'm just very confused. So but if all it is a symptom of some unhealthy things going on in your life or your lifestyle, then why are so many men still having issues with it? I mean, why is it such an issue to talk to your partner about it when all it is just a sign that you could improve your health?
Well, the important thing is you got to remember what I said. Men are judged heavily by their ability to perform in the bedroom. So, like, whether or not you're unhealthy or not, men are going to be judged by it.
But I'm saying, if you know it, so if men want to have sex,
Yeah.
and you know you're gonna get judged by that, I just don't understand why men aren't taking action in resolving the situation.
Yeah. Well, you got to understand, and I've said this like many times before, but men aren't taught to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, we're not taught to care for ourselves. And after you are not a boy anymore and you become a man, you find that out very quickly. Nobody's coming to your aid. Okay? If you don't do what you need to do, you could end up homeless. It's a reality. Whereas for a lot of our daughters, like, they can always go back home. But the son coming back home and not working, it's like, wait, what? You're not going to be in my house not working. You see what I'm saying? So, like, we're judged based off of our performance in life, our ability to provide not only for ourselves, but for others, but also our ability to perform as well, too.
Yep.
So, like, we haven't been taught in life to care for ourselves. So when it comes to our health, we're not taught to do that. We're taught to care for other people. We're taught to provide for others. We're taught to secure and protect others, but we're not taught that for ourselves. And then we don't have the emotional language to communicate to ourselves to say, hey, you need to take care of yourself, brother. Like, we're not taught to talk to ourselves like that. When you start to think about our inner dialogue, the dialogue we have with ourselves is like, no, you need to get tough. Push through this. You need to just get it up. We're not thinking about the health consequences around it.
No, that's so true, man. We are conditioned to push through pain.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, pain is weakness.
Leaving the body.
Is weakness leaving the body. And all we need to focus on is producing.
Yes.
As men. And you know, it's it is a reality. I think that's one of the blessings of having a woman, because a woman kind of sees those blind spots. That's just a tough one for a woman, I would say, for her to help with, because first of all, your mama ain't about to recommend you go to the doctor for erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
All right. And you know, that's a hard conversation. That's a hard
how serious it is.
I mean, yeah, but she won't know. Right. I mean, that's one thing a dude not talking to his mom about. Mama, I can't get it up, mama.
That's true. So really the first person that probably finds out
is your partner.
Is the partner, and then the doctor, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Maybe the doctor.
Maybe the doctor. Okay.
Well, I would say in many cases, the doctor find out for the partner, because he goes to the doctor to fix the issue by getting the prescription.
Gotcha.
And then he hides it from her. Like, most women in a relationship don't always know that the man is on a Viagra or another medication.
Yo, ask that. Has any of the women ever found out? Because you know, women be checking their medicine cabinets.
Well, we've had women to say that after they found out their man had erectile dysfunction, that he didn't feel comfortable with including them in the resolution process. We have had that before.
Yeah.
But so that's interesting. Ladies finding in the medicine cabinets the Viagra and figuring it out that way.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a form of betrayal.
You saying, has a partner
have they ever found out that their partner was taking performance enhancing drugs?
Yeah. And I've heard people have conversations about feeling a little bit betrayed.
Yeah.
Around a guy taking something like that without telling her, or blah 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 blah. Yeah.
I mean, I can see that, you know, because I mean it's a lot. That's a lot of preparation going on behind my back. It's something that you're struggling with, and even from a more holistic standpoint, like you said, the fact that this is an issue means there's a deeper issue with your health.
Yeah, for sure.
That I don't know about is going on with you, and I mean, maybe you should know about, because ladies, this is the thing. If you see a man's diet, if you see his daily activities are not on par the reality of the situation is if it's not here, it's coming.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first thing to look out for. Now that I'm even having this conversation, it's like really looking at what his routines are, what he's putting into his body, because a lot of men just in general eat trash.
Yeah.
Like I'm an anomaly in the checkout line when I'm going to the
With
supermarket
perishable items.
because my cart is filled with I'm buying 3 watermelons at a time. I got 2-3 pound thing of grapes, bananas, and it's always a curiosity at the checkout line because it's so unusual.
Yeah.
But it's actually strange. It's sad that that's unusual.
Right.
That I'm buying fruits and vegetables on a regular basis, because I see why this is an issue and a growing issue just because of our lifestyles and what we put into our bodies. But you're giving us the solutions now. You're saying, boom, activity. That's the first one. Diet. What should we be putting in our bodies? What should we be taking out our bodies, especially specifically as men? I want you to kind of put us on that meal
so
plan.
in terms of diet, like you got to get rid of the sugar, the unnatural sugar. I'm not talking about the sugar in fruits.
Okay.
Because the sugar in fruit is attached to fiber. The fiber in nature was always there to blunt the effect of the sugar. So you don't have to worry necessarily about fruit, but you got to worry about all the other sugar that isn't inside of something from nature. Because if you look at nature, there's no sugar bush, no sugar tree. It's taken out of something. Once something is ripped out of something, it is no longer what it was. Okay. So you get rid of sugar. The other thing is you got to get rid of the refined carbohydrates.
Refined carbohydrates.
The breads, the pastas, the muffins, the pancakes. Like you got to get rid of those things because that's what's shooting your insulin levels up. And we talked about that. The other thing that I think also affects it is the unhealthy oils. Okay. And when I'm talking about
canola oil,
vegetable oil.
Most of the time when you go to a restaurant, they use canola oil or seed oils, which are very unhealthy.
Wow.
Vegetable oil too?
Vegetable oils too. So like
you should be doing olive oil, right?
Like an olive oil, grapeseed oil, avocado oil.
Interesting.
Okay. But the thing is, the more you eat out, the more you're eating those oils. And what I find for a lot of people in our community, both men and women, we love crunchy foods, which means that we love fried
foods.
We do.
Okay.
And that's cheap. That's the cheaper food for them to make and the cheaper oil for them to use too.
Yep.
Is that
they're always going to use the worst oil because that's one of the most expensive things for a restaurant.
And my little brother, he worked at Zaxby's. He said they would leave that oil in there for weeks at a time. They're using the same oil
and
over
every
time
it's heated, it gets more and more devilish. It gets more and more adulterated. It gets more and more unhealthy for you.
Yep.
So every day they reheat it is getting more and more toxic to you.
And I don't want to blame just the fast food restaurants. It's all restaurants, even the high class ones. They're still using the cheap oil. It's very expensive. Yeah,
all of them. So you got to switch those out. And then the other thing is that you got to get rid of all this processed stuff. You got to start eating real food.
What about cereal and like oatmeal and stuff like that?
Same thing. Most of it is refined.
Well, oatmeal, like oats. If you just buy the oats, the actual oats.
You mean if you get like still cut oats?
Yeah.
Okay. They're okay, but what I noticed with a lot of diabetics, I would have them have the oatmeal and then test their blood sugars afterwards. I would notice a spike in their blood sugar, even with oatmeal.
Damn it.
So I always tell people to check your blood sugars afterwards. If your blood sugars spike, then it's a problem.
So no sugar. Okay, no sugar. So that means all the alcohols, all the sweets, we're removing that. Okay, cool. The oils, we out of there. So we got sugars, we got oils, fellas. Take this list down.
That's not too difficult. That's not too difficult.
Shit, me, it's not too difficult.
I think the bread is probably the most difficult.
The bread and the carbs. And I think this, and here's where it affects ladies. I've never dated a woman, and here's for the ladies too. Y'all be real about this, lady. I've never dated a woman that was regular.
Regular in terms of what?
Bowel movement.
No, listen. See, this thing, you really don't know though, because women, they like ninjas, so they figure out how to take shits.
No, I know, but also because they're women, they've also been taught this like class and grace. They've also been taught to skip shits, like don't shit in public restrooms.
They find a way. They
Don't
find a
shit
way
here.
to do it.
No, bro, they don't be shitting. Like they don't shit.
Is that true, ladies? Is
Like
that
a lot,
true?
bro. You've dated these chicks with these gut issues.
Now they did have gut issues. Yeah.
I mean, that's what a gut
but
issue
it was
is.
more like, well, I guess so. If you are bloated, you probably
full
not
of
taking-
shit.
Yeah, okay. Is that what bloated is? Because I think bloated is
Now bloating is usually a lot of gas in the stomach.
Okay.
Sometimes your food is just lost in transit, so it's in
Yeah.
the
I either
gut
get
for a
they
long
either
time.
burp or they're bloated.
Yeah.
But the bowel movements, I don't know.
No, the truth is the vast majority of Americans are constipated. As a matter of fact, if you look at the medical definition of constipation, it's less than 2 or 3 bowel movements in a week. That's the medical definition, which means that if somebody has 3 or 4 in a week, the medical definition means they're healthy.
How often should we be using the bathroom? Not about price.
Multiple times a day, right?
I have a bowel movement every meal.
Yeah,
So
me,
if I
me
eat
too.
2 meals, I have 2 bowel movements.
Me
Hey,
too.
hey, we're gonna have to end the show because Dr. Body Price is about to take a shit right now.
No, I thought like that's to me that makes the most sense because every time you eat, you should go to the restroom.
Yeah, because there's something to dump out. Like your body only needs the amino acids, the healthy fats, the minerals, the vitamins, the trace elements. That's all your body needs from that.
And
it doesn't need the physical food.
And Americans, we naturally overeat.
Yes.
So we eat 3 meals a day. So that means
Plus snacks.
plus snacks.
Yeah.
So if you consider that, if somebody just follows that diet, we should be taking 21 shits a week.
Yeah.
Now those snacks, that's what I was watching this on like the History Channel. They said like in like prisoners of war, they feed them crackers and candy because those types of things, those processed foods stop them from having to go to the restroom.
Oh, yeah.
So they want to constipate the prisoners. So that's why they feed them that. So they wouldn't have to go to the restroom and they can still, not starve them.
Yeah.
And some people in prison diets out here.
That's true.
Eating
I
pizza.
always tell the women that come spend time with me, I say, look, don't hold it in to spare my feelings. Because if you gotta go, you better go.
And I'm open about having those conversations. I don't mind telling a woman that hey, look, I ain't see you shit in like 2 days.
I mean, the thing is, I do believe more men than women think actually would prefer them to be healthy and use the restroom regularly.
Well, it's another taboo conversation, just like sex.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like nobody's sitting around having a conversation about bowel movements, and so like it's because it's taboo, like we have some of the similar issues with sex that we have with health too.
Yeah.
Because we're not having conversations, but it's different for me because most of the women I meet, they know I'm healthy and most of the time they're healthy too. And so they're regular. And so it's like I'm celebrating like, oh, you had it. Okay. I'm next.
So where you meeting these healthy chicks at, not about price? Because
I mean, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So, if your lifestyle and your energy is on a healthy vibe, then that's what you're going to attract.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yo, I want y'all to send those questions in right now. We want to
Yes.
go ahead and get these questions answered for Dr. Bobby. And I'm getting ready to turn the members only chat on so we can have the members specifically ask question for Dr. Bobby. Dr. Bobby, real quick, I want to ask you, what's the equivalent in terms of erectile dysfunction for men? What's the equivalent for women?
It could be vaginal dryness. It could be low libido as well too. It could be pain on sex. So some women have that issue as well too. Sometimes with endometriosis or other conditions. So
Still not even as looked down upon as I think.
I think, like I said, like men in the performance area, like that's on you.
Yeah, it really
So I mean,
is.
it's women that I'm sure have issues with getting wet, but so that vaginal dryness might be an issue.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask y'all this too, but because by the way, I just want to get a feel for it, y'all. Y'all let me know because with this, y'all have brought this up to us so much. Do we need supplements for y'all? Is this something that y'all will be interested? If we need to provide some natural supplements for our people, if y'all will be interested, I want to see somebody put supplement in the chat. And with that even being the case, are there good natural supplements that people could put into their body that you deem healthy, that could be something that aids, obviously, outside of the, working out, not skipping that,
Yeah.
and having a better diet? Are there some supplements that could kind of speed up the process and kind of help us, see some results a bit quicker?
Man, so I always tell people again, like, the reason why it's called a supplement, because it's a supplement too. Okay. So you got to make sure you do the foundation, which is lifestyle, which is how you move, how you eat, how you live, time in nature, exposure to sunlight, drinking water, getting enough sleep. All those things play a huge role. And in terms of supplements, like for the fellas, you mean?
Let's start with the fellas. Yes.
Okay. It's like in terms of supplements for the fellas, zinc is, like I said, zinc is something that I find that most men are deficient in.
Okay. So we was right. They be zinced out.
Yeah. So zinc. All the other things it will actually be food that I would recommend, because here's the thing. Like, even if I tell you zinc, like, I'm gonna tell you sources of zinc to eat.
Like certain nuts that got zinc, like cashews got zinc.
Yeah. So like, I always refer to the foods first.
Got it.
Because like when you're going with a supplement, you don't know the quality of the company. You don't know like what most people don't understand dosages properly. The other thing is, when you're using whole foods, the cool thing is that you're not only getting the zinc, but you're also getting other complementary vitamins and minerals as well too.
Yeah.
That's going to help the zinc work even much more better.
Yeah.
So like I was telling you before we started this, I mean, I'm in the process of creating a supplement, but the supplement is being created based on all natural ingredients. And not only that, it's created in such a way where they're synchronistic with each other.
Yeah.
So this herb helps this herb do this and that kind of thing. And so that's what I tell people. What I always see is, for most people who are willing to do the work, change their lifestyle, in most cases, 90% of cases, the issue is resolved.
Wow. That's good news, fellas.
Yeah, really good news. So, erectile dysfunction isn't like a death sentence in terms of your sexual, health, but you got to be willing to make the shift in your lifestyle.
Listen, I know it ain't death sentence, but I know it could damn sure I can imagine it. Damn sure feel like it.
What's this maca powder? You heard of that?
Yeah, maca is pretty good.
Maca powder. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So maca is a root, and that's something that you can sort of add to your smoothies as well too. You guys mentioned watermelon earlier.
Oh, watermelon
is also.
So they say the white part, right? They say the white part is a natural.
That's what we have some West Indians say.
It has what's called citrulline in it. Citrulline stimulates nitric oxide.
Opens up them vessels.
Opens up the vessels.
So that's the white part in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, fellas, y'all
nobody eats that part. No, I do now, but
yeah.
As of last week.
Yeah, most people skip that part. That's not the tasty part, but
it tastes like celery.
Yeah.
Honestly, so y'all hear that? Listen, y'all might just need to bite the whole shell of the goddamn watermelon, fellas. If you're having them issues, make sure you buy you some watermelon while it's in season. Man, I love watermelon, man. I keep it stacked up in the house, but I like that, man. So look, help is on the way. Dr. Bobby said he got some some supplements coming in. Not to say you don't need to get in the gym, not to say you don't need to necessarily stop eating that Popeyes fried chicken and the damn McDonald's French fries that you love so much. But along with those things, that if you combine all of those things together, it potentially can help the recovery process.
I'm really curious about the women though. I really want to know about that, because some women claim they got the WAP, and I'm wanting to know, is that hereditary, or is it things that a woman can do lifestyle and diet wise to make herself more
Put
wet?
WAP in the chat, ladies. You got I'm just kidding.
It's like everything. Like, every man should have an erection, and every woman should be able to perform as well too. And everything is based off of health, because what I was saying earlier was that, we have to look at what's normal. Like, what's normal for the body is the body wants to reproduce. The body wants to survive. And with that being said, is when the body's in a healthy state, then all systems are on a go.
Yeah.
And when it's not in a healthy state, especially when it comes to hormone balance, when it's not that, then everything is going to be shifted in the direction where it's not normal. So the issue is always making sure first the body is not deficient. Okay, it's properly nourished. The other issue is making sure that the body is not toxic. Okay, it's not full of waste. And then as a result of those two things and making sure you have a healthy lifestyle, exercise, sunlight, drinking water, as a result of that, there will be hormone balance in the body. Okay, so you won't have the issues of a longer period, or you won't have the issues of, vaginal dryness, or men won't have the issues of erectile dysfunction, or they won't have the issues of gynecomastia, which are man boobs. So like all of those things play a role because of the health is shifting in the direction of dysfunction.
I know one thing that I've actually personally taken that I saw a great change in my personal health that I took from one of your products was your detox. I know a lot of people here probably even have taken Dr. Bobby Price's detox. If y'all don't know about it, I think you got is it a 14 day and a 21?
28 day.
28 and a 4. I stopped at 14. I was you gotta crawl before you walk, y'all. But I know that detoxing is just overall a really good way to really springboard, and really start fresh, if you will, your body, and a nice reset in some ways. Break down to the people the purpose of detoxing and why you promote detoxing so heavily.
Well, the first thing is giving everybody a little bit of a backstory. I told you 13 years ago, I went plant-based, vegan, whatever you want to call it.
What you was eating before that? You had
everybody else eating.
Okay.
I was in the drive-through like everybody else before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You from Southern cooking background kind of deal?
Yeah. Most of my family is in the South. The other half is in the North. But
okay.
Like my mother is from the South and my mom cooks.
Okay.
So I come from that.
Okay.
And so the idea of me shifting to a diet that didn't include animal products was crazy.
They was roasting you.
Well, they looked at me crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing was, when I was 16, I got diagnosed with high blood pressure.
16 years old.
I was an athlete too, only 7% body fat, super fit, but got diagnosed with high blood pressure. Now, a lot of it was due to trauma as well too, because that plays a role in our health as well too. And I went through a lot of traumatic things, a lot of violence, a lot of death, that sort of thing. So I'm sure that played a huge role. But I got diagnosed when I was 16 and sort of lived with it over a decade. And when I became like 28, working in the hospital, I was noticing dudes in their 30s, women in their 30s, coming into the hospital with heart attacks and strokes. And they got a blood pressure that's like mine. And I'm like, this is going to be me. And so I'm like, I got to do something. And so that's what really shifted me to say I need to do something. And then what happened was I tried everything. I tried the Jenny Craig, the Nutrisystem, none of that worked. And then I tried every type of exercise, none of that worked. And then finally, out of desperation, I was like, all right, cool. I'll try this no meat thing, all plants. We'll see how it goes. And I lost like 17 pounds in like 21 days. But my blood pressure only went down a little bit. And so I come from a pharmaceutical background, but I also got certified as an herbalist. So I started saying, well, I'm going to put together something that's going to get rid of all this waste in my body. Because by this time I had like a little belly on me.
You had a gut.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like 250.
Damn.
Yeah, I was like 250. Had sleep apnea. So, which is a condition when you sleep, you literally are sleeping, snoring, and you stop breathing. I didn't know it until my girl at the time told me about it.
Oh yeah, the women will tell your ass if you're sleeping wrong.
Well, she was scared because I would literally stop breathing. So she would wake me up like, yo, you just stop breathing for like 2 minutes. So like,
can you die? Like, can you
ultimately what it does is it enlarges the heart. It creates high blood pressure. It causes a lot of issues. It also causes erectile dysfunction as well too. So I said, all right, I need to put together some kind of detox to get all this bull I've been putting in my body for all these years. And so I put together the detox that you did. I said, all right, I'm going to do the detox for the last 21 days. So I did the detox of 21 days, and I think I lost 40 pounds. But the sleep apnea went away. Now, mind you, when you get that, like, there's nothing they could do for you except for a machine called a CPAP machine. You literally put this mask on while you're sleeping, and the machine is buzzing the whole night. It is not a sexy thing. Okay.
Damn.
That's how most people spend the rest of their lives when they get sleep apnea. That resolved. Now, that was like, for me, that was a medical miracle. Because I'm like, the only thing we got for this at the hospital is a machine. Nothing else works. But then what happened was my girl was like, you know, she was a little on the fence, because she was like, now I went from 250, a big, you know, guy who looked like he played football. Now I'm like 200, lost 50 pounds. And she's like, the weight looked funny on you. But she was like, the bedroom make up for it though. And that was the first time I was like, what you mean? And she was like, well, you know, you used to, like,
the girth is there.
It was like less than 5 minutes. Like,
oh wow, the stamina. Okay.
Yeah, the stamina's there. And then she was like, it seemed like you kind of
larger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I was like, this works. But I only thought it worked for me. And what happened was, when I would go back to work, people would see my white coat slouching off of me. I got a new neckline now that they could actually see. I look younger, and they're like, what the hell you been doing? You look like a teenager. And so I just started writing down what I was doing, and it would work. But then they would be like, well, what made you I lost this weight, but you lost this weight, and you look younger, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, I did this detox. And that's how I started giving people the detox.
Wow. You know, I didn't consider this, y'all, but fellas, you actually made a great point. If nothing else motivates y'all tonight, fellas, more blood flow to your penis literally is a larger penis.
It is.
Like, it literally is like, you have, it's like you have penis potential.
Yeah.
And
you got
your
growth.
penis potential ain't even at its fullest if all the blood ain't in there. So, brother, it's more to you that you have not even experienced. Damn it.
Real quick, so I'm laughing. I'm cracking up. Shout out to TFP. We done got TFP. Finally, we done got TFP. We had to turn that member chat on. Shout out to TFP and shout out to Happy Life, the new channel members. And we got shout out to CR Scott with the super chat. She actually got a question for Dr. Bobby. She said, if all is well, according to the doctor's report and health, what do you do if erectile dysfunction is not fixed or wants to be dealt with after years, especially in marriage? So she's pretty much saying if the doctor is saying, look, you checking out, you good, and the guy is refusing to get help with, what should you do?
Okay, let me first say this. Our medical system, again, is not a healthcare system, it's a sick care system. And a lot of the tools that we have are inadequate to properly diagnose a person. So, so the unfortunate thing is, a lot of people who appear healthy to our healthcare system are really unhealthy. Okay, and the reason why I say that is because when we do studies on, like, for a drug company, you know, every drug has to do clinical studies.
Yeah.
When they do those clinical studies, they have to take a population of people. But the vast majority of our population is unhealthy. 75% is overweight or obese. 66% is on a prescription medication. So the vast majority of our population is unhealthy. So when they're looking at a patient, they're looking at it from an unhealthy view. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is it's important to understand that how the medical system views the patient is from an unhealthy perspective. Okay, so when they give you, they tell you that you're healthy, I would take it with a grain of salt.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Because like I was telling you earlier, LeBron James' son probably went and got a physical 2 weeks ago.
That's the truth.
And they still didn't tell him what the situation was.
You see what I'm saying? Look at the DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin,
yeah, that for the Buffalo Bills, 24 years old. pass out on the field, cardiac arrest.
In peak condition.
And these
And
are
peak
some of the top best
You don't
athletes.
think they have doctors on that team?
The best doctors.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So you can't look at our medical system and say that they can accurately diagnose you, because they're not looking at you from a healthy perspective. They're looking at you from a sick perspective. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, it's a challenge when you have somebody who doesn't want to find solutions.
Yeah.
Okay. That's in any shoe and foot, whether it's a woman or a man. If they're unwilling to better themselves, I'm not even saying better themselves for you. I'm saying better themselves for themselves. If they're unwilling to do that, it's very difficult to work with somebody like that, especially when it's a non-negotiable, as I was saying before. And for most people, sex is a non-negotiable. People want to experience people physically. They want to experience intimacy with their partner. And if they have a partner who's not willing to do the work that is necessary to create a real solution, then you got to have conversations first. I always say that because I just don't believe in just throwing away people. So it's important to have conversations and have discovery moments where maybe you can find solutions together and work through some of the emotions and some of the drawbacks, because it may be ego why he doesn't want to address it.
Yeah.
Okay. So if she can work through that with him and he finally says, all right, let's do this, then perfect. But if she can't, then she needs to start to make some decisions, but ultimately make sure he understands that how important it is before she makes the decision to leave. That's why I always say, whether it's a man or woman, if this is somebody you love and you've devoted your time and effort to and your energy to, don't just walk out without having a true conversation and helping them understand how important something is to you and how important they are to you.
Do you think that in that kind of situation, could this be a possible solution? The woman or the man stepping out of the relationship to get sexually satisfied? Have you ever heard of that being an option for a real life situation?
I always tell people, like, whatever you decide to do in your relationship, that's what you decide to do in your relationship. But I like to be true. My friends know I'm the person, I tell the truth. There's nobody that can go back and say like, Dr. Bobby was a liar. There's nobody who could do that. And I'm very, very proud of that, because I make sure people know and understand what my position is. And I make people know and understand like what my expectations are. And I also help them understand, I understand where yours are too. So what I tell people, if you're in a situation where you're unhappy and the person is unwilling to either address a need for whatever reason, then you need to make a decision with them. And if you can't make a decision with them, you need to make a decision for yourself. But I always say, like, if it's that bad, you just need to walk away from the relationship.
Wow.
Because in most cases, the person is not gonna condone you stepping out of the relationship while you're in the relationship.
I mean, yeah, that's such a serious thing. I think if it's a man that he continuously doesn't want to address it and the woman is clearly suffering, I think, it's probably just some much bigger issues than just that erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
So then it might be time unfortunately, for that person to make that kind of decision.
Make a choice.
Real quick, we got, I want to shout out to Dre. Shout out to Andre Hatchett.
Big shout out.
Dre, we appreciate you. Dre says, I have the detox stuff, but Dre is not the only one. Dre's got the detox, but it's a lot of people that said that they participated in the detox and the cleanse.
In this chat.
Yeah, in the chat right now. So shout out to you for getting people right.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, somebody said the 14-day cleanse inspired me to go plant-based. Man, shout out, that was a TP.
We had a question from K-Ann too. She says, what are some things, Dr. Bobby, that you recommend for emotional healing for men who have a traumatic past?
Oh, so I do a lot of talks on this. And what I always tell people, you have to first understand what trauma is, and trauma and drama is.
Because that's used a lot now. It's a buzzword right now.
It's a buzzword, but people don't really understand what it is. And what a trauma is trauma isn't the actual experience. It's your interpretation of the experience. So let me give you an example. You can have two people who got molested, but the outcomes of those people are very different. You may have one person that, as a result of becoming molested, hates men for the rest of their life. You may have another person who has that same experience, but as a result of it, they internalize it and said that person was bad. Okay.
Right.
So trauma isn't the actual experience. It's the interpretation of the experience, how you feel about the experience.
Wow.
Okay. Because what happens is that experience happened when you was 8, but you're still living as if that experience is happening every day right now. You see what I'm saying?
Hell
So it's
yes.
important to understand that first. The other thing is to understand about trauma is that the root word of it comes from the Greek. It means a wound, not a scar, but a wound. It means that you're still not healed. Okay. So there's still work to do. So it's important to first get that context in place. The next thing to understand about the healing process is first, you have to do the shadow work. Shadow work is the parts of yourself that you have disowned, disconnected from, and swept under the rug.
Buried.
Okay. And you have to be willing to do that work, to go back to the past, to have conversations with people maybe you don't want to have conversations with, to forgive yourself. A lot of people think it's about forgiving the other people. The first person you need to forgive is yourself. Because even in incidents where it happened to you, where somebody maybe was abusive to you, most people blame themselves. You see what I'm saying? So you got to go through that healing process of not only forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. And then it's also an acceptance process too, where I got to accept that this is what happened. Okay. And you got to have the perspective of this didn't happen to me, that happened for me. What do I want to learn from this? You see what I'm saying? And when you pull out that lesson, that wisdom of what I wanted to learn for this, because I always tell people when I ask God for love, he sent an enemy my way. Okay. And what I explain to people is why I think life works that way is because quite often hurt people hurt people. So when somebody hurt comes my way, it teaches me compassion for somebody who doesn't deserve it. You see what I'm saying? So life quite often gives you opposites.
Yeah.
And so that's what I always tell men about healing is first you have to learn those things. And then ultimately you have to become emotionally intelligent. You have to learn how to process your emotions. A lot of people, as a result of going through trauma and stress, don't know how to fully express or process their emotions. So when it comes to it, having the experience with the emotions, they run from it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They want nothing to do with it. And then they self-heal. Okay. They trauma bond. And the reason why they do that is because that is what makes the feeling go away.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, when you go through a trauma, it's not the experience, it's how you felt about it. So if you went through something that made you very sad, then guess what? You're going to eat a lot of sugar, make life sweet again. You see what I'm saying? But it's a compensation and an adaptation to the stress of the trauma you experienced. So,
bro, you just broke that shit. But hit the horns real quick, man. Dr. Bobby Price really just gave a very sequential delivery on that answer. And I actually never heard trauma defined that way. But that, as of today, is my favorite definition of what trauma is. And it's a very well-rounded, holistic understanding of what it is and how to go about fixing it. And I think that's why many of us are, even, watching, Hardly Initiated today is because we're trying to figure out how to fix some aspect of that.
absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, like you said, life gives us, like, that's a part of life.
Yeah.
Is you get these problems and they're actually blessings in disguise again, but it's up to us to find the blessing in it.
You got to find it.
And that's the tricky part about it. That's the real tricky part about trying to, have a level of optimism and, resilience in everything that comes at us on a day-to-day basis. And listen, I mean, we got any more questions? Because Dr. Bobby Price broke it down. Y'all better get these super chats in right now because this is just personal, my curiosity. Because the last time you came up here, before we go ahead and close this thing out, I want to know this because Dr. Bobby Price, you actually said, I think you said, first of all, the chat want to know, so you a single brother?
I'm dating.
He's dating right now. I think the last time you came on here, you was dating a young lady. I think she was like, I think it was a Caribbean young lady too, right?
Dang, don't get my man caught up. Don't get my man caught up, okay?
All right. Here's the purpose of the question.
Dr.
You
Clark
said
is like,
Caribbean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Bro, I don't even know last time I was here.
listen.
Here's the reason I'm asking. Because I want to know for the fellas. You got a woman who's she's a cooking woman, or she's not. How do you, because you were already staunch and you made it clear you're not dating a woman that's on the same health, move, or vibe and motion as you. What kind of conversations are you having to make sure that you onboard your lady to be in the kitchen, like transitioning her? What's the conversation to transition her to the lifestyle that you probably need to have with women to get on this wavelength? Because unfortunately, it's not normal.
Yeah.
And it's uncommon.
Well, first of all, I mean, I'm not really necessarily trying to onboard a lady. My approach is that I'm looking for alignment. And so when I'm dating somebody and I find that there is alignment, then all we need to do is figure out how we're gonna move together, like in life. Okay. And so the way I look at it is that I'm not looking for somebody who doesn't want to be healthy. So if they don't if they're not even aspiring to be healthy, then we're not on the same wavelength. We're not aligned.
So she already ain't cooking up kale. It's just,
well, not that she ain't cooking up kale, because she may not be at a point in her journey where she doesn't even know what the hell kale is. There was a point in my journey I did not know what an avocado was, but I eat guacamole.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I gotta respect where people are on their journeys. But what I really respect is people's aspirations and their intentions.
Got it.
And so if I see that the aspirations are there and the intentions are there, then, like when I come together with somebody, like there's things that I can teach them if they want to learn them.
Yeah.
And then there's things that they can teach me. And so I think that's the most beautiful part about a relationship, is to come together with somebody that you both can mutually express and teach each other. So when I meet someone, I got a recipe book. So of course I know how to cook like a lot of the food that I love. So we can have a date night where we're cooking in the kitchen together. Yeah. And she gets to ask me questions about, well, how do you make this taste like this? And what herb is this? And so if she's interested in that, then I'm interested in her, because again, like my lifestyle isn't just a lifestyle for me. It's the legacy I want to leave behind for my children. And then they pass that on to their children as well, too.
Man, drop Dr. Bobby Price's IG up in this joint, because y'all need to make sure y'all go follow this brother. And actually, more important, y'all need to make sure y'all actually take action on what we're discussing here. Don't let this just be these words that's being thrown around and you using this as entertainment. Actually draw some action items from this. And in fact, I could actually recommend a really strong action item for everybody, especially somebody that just wants to better their health and you want a starting point. I actually will go ahead and recommend Dr. Bobby Price's Detox, because the Detox itself gives you very clear instruction on what to do, where to go. It's extremely effective. You're going to see results. You literally removing toxins from your body and giving yourself a fresh start. And look, for the fellas, you ain't even got to say if you having these issues. Listen, if you already know you not living properly, you're not active on a day-to-day basis, you're not putting the best foods in your body, it's really not even a question of if this is going to happen. It's just when. The brothers are running to it. We see 60% are running to it at 70 years old, but we also got brothers at the pharmacy at 20 years old as well. So, I mean, listen, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure.
And we got one more super chat just came in.
Let's get this one in. Get my man Dr. Bobby Price.
The later it gets, the more relationship questions we get.
Oh, really?
They just like, the later it get more. So we got Jess Soul Anchor. Shout out to Jess. Jess says, what does it take for a man to be willing to accept and be accountable for their portion of poison towards a toxic relationship? Ooh, just calling out somebody. Just calling out somebody.
This one is personal, Jess. I see.
I already know. She probably got on the phone. She probably cut somebody out right just 5 minutes ago. She like, man, Lord, let me go to Harlem this shit to give me some help.
But that's the work I was talking about. Like to be able to be accountable to self and be accountable to others. That means that you've done a lot of inner work. And like what does it take to do that? It takes a lot of inner work, a lot of spiritual connection with self. And that's, unfortunately, like that is the work that we're supposed to be doing here as human beings.
How do you tell if somebody has accountability in them? Like, what do you see when you're dating a woman? Because obviously you want to date someone who's accountable, who's open to fixing these things. What things do you see in them to be able to look for that? Because I think the problem is we're already dating people who don't even have accountability in them as something they even want to have as a trait. Yeah. So what do you see to be able to identify that?
Well, you have to look at what accountability means. It means that I want to grow. And if you don't want to grow, it means you're not going to be accountable. That means you're going to procrastinate. That means you're not going to have discipline. That means you're not going to take ownership of both the good and the bad. So when you're having experiences with somebody, you need to look out for all of those things.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying? All of those things show you everything. If something as simple as, it's your night on Tuesdays and Thursdays to prepare food and you're very inconsistent in it. Okay. That's a lack of accountability. Okay. Especially when, hey, like today was a very, very, very busy day. I wasn't able to stop by the grocery store, but I made sure that we got food today. And guess what? On Saturday, I'm going to make up for today. That's accountability too. So just because you didn't make the Thursday, you still were accountable. You see what I'm saying? So those things matter too.
Yeah. So
you can't go by just people's words. You got to go by their actions as well too.
And no, that's a fact. That's a fact. So ladies, y'all just keep a keen eye into like what, these fellas are actually doing and saying. Like really watch the details of a man and how he moves. Fellas, y'all do the same. Fellas, y'all do the same because you would definitely want to make sure you're rolling with an accountable woman.
She said, what does it take? She said she know what accountability look like. She want to know what it takes for a man to be man.
That's what I'm saying. It's the work, bro. Like that's what I'm like. When people are not accountable, it's because they have not done the inner work. And the inner work means that there's trauma. The inner work means that there's a disconnection from self. Okay, because when you're connected to self, it means you're connected to God. Okay, and also when the trauma is healed, the person isn't easily triggered. Okay, what you'll notice with people who are not accountable is when you call them out, they're easily triggered. They don't want to talk. They shut down. They walk out. They run away. They get loud. Okay, that's a sign of unhealed. Okay, so sometimes it's not about whether or not you need to help this person do the work. It's really about, is this person willing to do the work? If they're not willing to do the work, it won't matter how much you help them. But everybody has to be willing to do the inner work that we were designed to come here to do. We all were required to come here and do spiritual work. Okay? And our experiences created the curriculum for what that work is. And all we got to do is look back on our life experiences and we'll see the curriculum, the life curriculum that God gave us. So that's why I just wrote the book, Life is My Guru, because that's what I'm breaking down to people is you have to understand how to pull the wisdom out of your life experiences. And here's the thing about that. When you come into a pathway of enlightenment, it's like putting on glasses, okay? Your prescription is just for you. You can't share them with other people. So the awareness that you have, you can't share with other people. They got to get their own glasses, okay? And the other thing that's really important for us to understand about that is that, like, you don't, as much as you would like to share your awareness with people, can't even share it either. They got to get their own. So a lot of people are trying to save people who aren't willing to save themselves. And I always tell people, like, a lifeguard always says, like, you know, often people who are drowning drown another person because they're unwilling to chill out and allow somebody to help. They end up pulling the person down and drowning them as well. And a lot of people do that. So she should make sure that she's not doing that for herself.
First of all, you need to drop a whole nother super chat for that answer. Go ahead and drop it in there because he really just gave you just about all the game you needed. Yes, they said I need that book. Y'all damn sure. What was the name of the book again?
Said that detox link. That's what we really need.
Yeah, that would have been phenomenal. What was the name of the book again?
Life is my guru.
Life is my guru, man. Just go ahead and
send us that link so we can go ahead and add that to the library.
Okay.
And also, guys, before we go ahead and get signed out, I want to make sure I drop this email list one more time. Guys, go ahead and register for the email list. Give us your contact information. We got a lot of things planned, got a lot of things coming up.
Yes.
And we want to make sure we get you guys out the information earlier or as soon as possible. So please make sure you register for that email list. We got some new things, updates, events, all of that in the works, guys. So you already supporting us by watching it. Shout out to the members. We over 140. I'm sure we're going to be over 150 by the end of this live or tomorrow morning. So guys, please let us know how we can best contact you. So make sure you click that link.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely, man. Go ahead. We will make sure that we put that in the description here of this video. You will get that detox link. And listen, man, Dr. Bobby Price, I appreciate you coming back up here and kicking it with your boys here at Hardly Initiated. You know, we always appreciate your game. We need the health. I'm happy. I like seeing you rolling into not just the physical health, but the mental health.
Yeah.
Because it all ties
all together
in directly, and obviously you see the people they need both.
And your YouTube channel is going crazy. I know it's kind of off a little bit, but I want people to join that YouTube channel because the YouTube channel, you dropping a lot of game on there.
Yeah, bro.
So guys, go ahead and make sure, and it's in the title. Like literally, if you look at the title, I literally tag Dr. Bobby Price's YouTube in there. So all you got to do is click it and make sure you subscribe to his channel as well.
Yes, guys. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in here. Shout out to the people that stay here to the end of a show about health. Y'all know this is usually the most boring topic. And if you made it this far, that means you actually care about yourself on a whole nother level. So shout out, these the A students right here. Shout out to y'all that went ahead and stuck in here. I appreciate what y'all learned and I appreciate your engagement. Go ahead and sign up for that email list because I promise you guys, our tribe, our founders, the people that's rocking with us now, we're going to take great care of you. It's going to be a lot of perks to the people that go ahead in there because I'm telling you, we got some surprises coming. We're not letting you know, but we're going to keep bringing these phenomenal guests of this caliber onto this platform. So make sure you subscribe, guys. Hit subscribe right now to the YouTube channel. But listen, hit it.
I like that.
Hit it, guys.
I like that.
Because we about to get out of here, okay? I love you guys, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Hardly Initiated. We are out.
Peace.